Hello, welcome back to Carvardi's live stream Essen extravaganza. We are now moving to Hall 4. We were in Hall 2 for parts 1 and 2 of the series, and now we're going to Hall 4 and checking out some of the games that are coming from Asia to Essen later this year, in just like a few weeks from now, right around the corner. Hi, Jay and all. I'll do my best to join later. Hi, Rob. Glad to see you back. I just want to say thank you again for everyone who's watching this series. I've been having a great time making them and talking about them. I initially wanted to do long form videos, edited videos for all this content, but I have so much and so little time that I wanted to do a live stream. That way you guys can ask me questions and I can answer them directly, and we can plow through some of this stuff. I do want to say thank you to everyone out there who's been doing who's been joining the Cardboard East Cult Collection auction on BGG. As you know, I'm moving from Taiwan to America, and I need to let go of a lot of my collection here. So I've been auctioning it off on BGG. For those of you who do spend more than $50, I will include a free gift from Taiwan, as well as a personally handwritten note from me. That also includes this. This could include one of these. This is something I picked up last weekend. If you could see, like, there's a nice little black bear there from Taiwan. You can notice that he has like that white V chest that's holding the flag, and he's punching Winnie the Pooh, which is some other country. And it says scramble down below, fight for freedom. This is something that Taiwanese jet fighter pilots wear on their jackets. Like, you could Google that if you don't believe me. It's really amazing. I picked up a couple of these to give out for the auction. Also, you might remember Vegetable Stock, which came out last year, or a couple of years actually, but became really popular last year. Well, every year at the Taiwan Original Board Game Expo, which is like their Essen or their Gen Con, they release a board game themed version of Vegetable Stock. So if you know how to play Vegetable Stock, then you know how to play this one. In Chinese, this means cutting edge board game collector. And what they do is they put the board games at the convention for that year on the cards. And you can see all the board games there. So this is like a nice little fun little item that I'll be giving away for those of you who joined the auction. Now, let's move on to what's going to be some really fun stuff here. I got to pull up some charts here so I make sure I get those booth numbers right. And I don't know where to begin. We have games from Japan, from Taiwan, and it's going to be exciting. And Hong Kong. I want to talk about the one from Hong Kong first. There are two games from Hong Kong that I'll be talking about, and I'm mostly talking about the publisher. Oh, lots of games here. There's a publisher known as Broadway, Broadway's Toys Limited. They're, I think, initially a toys company, hence Broadway Toys. But they're based in Hong Kong. They do have a branch here in Taiwan, and I was able to talk to them and pick up some of the games here. They gave me two games, and I think these are the two games that they're going to really be pushing this year. So let's talk about the first one. Urubamba Valley. It's this one here. This is like a nice mid-weight worker placement game for 3 to 5 players, and plays about an hour. The real gimmick with this game is the table presence is really, really nice. It doesn't have a traditional game board per se. If you look in the back of the box, you can kind of see what it looks like here, how it's these tiered boxes that come out. And since we have a couple hours, let's just dive right in, shall we? So we get I don't know how you guys feel. How do you all feel about your rule books? Do you like your rule books record, like LP shaped, or do you like that nice letter A4 size ones? I'm not a big fan of these. I like the smaller ones because I think they're just easier to read. I think like doing this just always seems kind of funny. I don't know. That's just how I feel. Oh. So, this is one of these game boards that's like a giant puzzle. Like, you have to put like these puzzly pieces together. So as you can see here, for example, there's this nice little puzzle piece here, which is kind of nice. The game is double-sided for different player counts, which I found to be equally cool. But this is just a little thing here. What's really cool is this part right here. You take this. Can be tricky. You know what's really funny is that like they have like this little thing here, which is supposed to help. But okay, they have this little contraption here, right? You stick your finger here, and then you lift it up, and it pulls out this insert. Or maybe it's not. Maybe it's just me. Yeah. Oh, here we go. Whew. All right. There have been plenty of games that use like the actual box for the game. This one includes boxes in the game, and it creates like this nice little ladder effect here. I think you can see it on the screen here. Yeah. And it creates these little steps, and you slowly move up and unlock more and more tiers of the level, such as this. You put these here. Someone spends money and unlocks it. Someone spends money and unlocks it. And these boards kind of go around it, like around this edge of it, kind of similar to that. If you could imagine it like that. Here you go, like this. Oh no, it is not double-sided for player count. Here we go. That's the reason why. So it's like this. Oh, I apologize. It's not double-sided. All right. So moving on. This is really interesting. You get like these meeples, and you put one of your meeples here. And by doing certain actions of the game, you're going to kind of boost it up here. The actions that you'll be doing will be laying tiles. And you have these different types of vegetables here. And we just take them out so you can see them all. So you have like potatoes, you have chilies, things native to Central and South America. So like you have this stuff here, which is really cool. And then you're going to be placing it. One of the actions that you're going to do on your turn is to place them here. And one of the things that you want to do is you want to take similar vegetables like this and kind of create like this Tetris shape and try to dominate that land there. So you want to have 3 or 4. And if you place the 4th one, well, then your meeple can go from 0 to 4 up here. And then later on a later turn, you could spend that and move that down and get like 9 coins. So then you could use that money for other things. So there's this weird area control element here as you're growing and expanding these. The game also comes with these silk-screened llamas. Let me show you that. They're very cute. It's very, very cute. Double-sided silk-screen llamas, and you can place this on your vegetables on the collective garden there, and that can add as an extra one there. So maybe if there's just one llama here, you put a llama there, and then you place another one. You'll have 3 instead of 2. So there are these little flexibilities there that you can do in the game. And when you get the money, and the money's cute, it's not metal coins, but not every game needs metal coins. Ooh, I'm getting hot in here. I'm going to make that 26 degrees. Yeah, we follow Celsius for those Americans watching. As I'm moving back, I'm kind of worried about adjusting to Celsius. I just don't get how you guys do it. But I mean, I did it for 20 years of my life, so I should be able to adjust back. The coin tokens are nice. They're functional and cute and kind of thematic looking. One of the cool things here is that you may not be able to see it, but let me show you different denominations. They have, I guess, like little electrons in the circle, and then you can see the electrons equal to the number of the currency. Cute. It's like that little extra inch that I was talking about that they do. You can't plant any vegetable that you want. You can plant your own that you begin with, but then you have to kind of develop your agriculture so that way you can plant other people's native crops. And on the other things that you could do is that you can buy these different technologies. So let me show you one here. Different technologies pop up, and here's like your player board. And you can buy these certain techs, and then you can place them here. And they fit in this nice little puzzle-y thing. So this is a great kind of like a gateway plus style game that makes everything a little bit more intuitive, like when you play, so players can just have fun. So you're planting vegetables so you can get money, and then you'll use that money to buy other things. One of the other things that you could do is to buy like technology. So if I can cover my face here. So this one gives you like certain tech that you could use. They are dual languaged here. So on the top is Chinese, and on the bottom is English. And there's different types of technologies that you can have. And I actually really like this game. I got a chance to play it this weekend, and it was pretty smooth. It wasn't like you're not like, it's not, oh gosh, I can't think of any big heavy games. Like it's not like as influential as like Tigers and Euphrates, like these big box games, but it's fun. It is approachable. People can understand what to do, and it has a lot of table presence. That's something that I've been seeing more and more from Asian games. Not necessarily, hi Brooke, hi, glad you're here. We are talking about the games from Broadway, Urumba Valley. This is a nice mid-weight worker placement game, but there's a little bit of area control as you're placing your vegetables down on these boxes that make the board. One of the cool things about this game is like the table presence, like I said, is really, really neat. And you're going to be placing these, you unlock new levels, and you eventually get up here, and you're playing like this area control here, but other people can take advantage of the crops that you make. So you kind of build this economy together, which is really interesting that you have games that tend to be, you know, like knitting circles, but they want to make it more interactive. And this is definitely one way to do it. And I think they did a really good job finding like a nice Gateway Plus game. And what's really cool about this is I think it shows like this ongoing trend in Asia, especially, well, maybe not so much in Japan, but definitely in Taiwan and definitely in China, that they're trying to get their games more, not just table presence, I would say Instagrammable, like things that look good when you take a picture of them. And I think for every publisher around the world, like that's becoming more and more of a thing. Like you need like that natural advertising and marketing in your games, that they just naturally look good on the table. And I think that's becoming more and more apparent that more and more publishers need to do that, especially with crowdfunding games that are coming in, or these really big budget games that cost like $80 to $100, and they look nice and they're filled with minis. That is something that a lot of publishers do, and it's really interesting to see Asia's spin on that. And that's been Urumba Valley. I think it's definitely worth playing when you get to Essen. Whether or not you want to pick it up is totally up to you. But I do think it's a very solid like Gateway Plus game, Gateway Plus, with some good amount of interaction, so you don't feel it. Now, one person I did play with, she said that it felt kind of repetitive in the Act 3 of the game. So if there's a story arc to the game, that's you have this buildup, and you're expecting some big crescendo payoff, but it isn't. You're kind of doing kind of the same things again and again and again. And I do kind of feel that way. But to be fair, I think she didn't get any really big, cool techs. She didn't follow the tech route, and I did. So I had all these fun powers. I was going up and doing more and more things. So that could determine like what strategy. She won the game though, so I'm busy having fun, like developing technology, and she's winning the game. Moving on. Coffee time. But I do want to mention this game from Broadway, because I think it's one of the best games from Asia this year. And I don't know if it's going to make my top 10 list for this year, because there have been so many good games from Asia this year. I am still sweating up a storm. Is it you, Monsieur Light? Okay. Hopefully that's not too loud for y'all. My wife threw in the towel. No more fighting for me today. I'm out of the ring. All right. That game that I'm talking about is this, Infiltrators. Now, when you look up the game on BGG, be careful how you spell it, because it's infiltrators, like you're a traitor, not spelled properly of infiltrators. I didn't know why they did that. I thought they didn't have a BGG page for the longest time until I actually looked at the game. Like, oh, it's Infiltrators. Okay. Well, this is a really, really cool deduction game when I first saw it played, I thought, oh, okay, it's just going to be like a regular, the kind of the crew. It's this cooperative game, blah, blah, blah. But no, it's really, really fun. So let me show you a little bit how it plays. It comes with lots of rule books here because it's multi-language. The English rule book is really interesting. So just like the crew, it comes with several missions, and I believe it's 20. Let me double check here. I believe, yes, it goes all the way to 20 missions of difficulty, and they get really, really hard. I got stuck at like mission 3, but I'm not good at deduction. And they even have like training missions that you could have. So you have like training scenario 2, training scenario 3. But essentially in this game, and like now I understand that this might be problematic for some people, depending on how you feel about firearms. But it is part of the game. You have these extra little tokens here for various missions. Yeah, the box art, Brooke, is great. The artwork on these cards is lovely. Like, this game is really, really, really cool. They have these weird pointing things. I haven't gotten to the mission where you use these yet, but you could. Sorry. Yes, I'm a grown adult. You put. Oh my goodness, I can't get enough of this. It comes like these nice wooden stands. Really nice components, right? You don't expect this. And what you're going to do is you're going to take these cards out. Let's look at these cards because these cards are beautiful. I really like the artwork on the cards. This is the standard back for the cards. And the artwork has this great film noir kind of look. I'll just show you some of them. So that, yeah, there's whiskey. There's, let's see here. You have like, he's putting on a silencer with a knife on the picture. Like, this is just very, very noirish looking. There's some bullets on the ground. He's out on the street. I like there does tell like a little bit of a cinematic there. He's breaking into a safe here. Like, there's just, the artwork is really, really nice. So what you're going to do, this has, I believe, 5? Yes, 5 suits, numbered 1 through 15. And you're going to take one of these cards and you're going to put it here on the stand. So only you can see it. So only you know that it's this red 10. And the suits are color coded. There's this nice little icon here that you can see. Let's see if I can get, well, that's red too. Let me see, red, blue, green. Okay, great. God saw me at the corner of his eye. So you can see the cards there. And you can see how the suits are right there with cool, like noirish iconography, right? You have a silhouette, keys, like an old-timey car, a handgun, and footprints. I love the theming of this. But anyway, you're going to take a card and you're going to put it here. Only you can see it. And on your turn, you can take various different types of actions. One of the things you could do is you can take a card and you can give information. So you have a card from your hand and you place it down. Now, if you place this card horizontally, or yes, vertically, then you're saying that the card here is either this number or this color. It's one of these things, and you don't know which. Or you can take a card from your hand and place it. Oh wait, that was vertically. This is horizontal. You can place it horizontally, and then now players know, well, it's not 8, it's not green, or it's not 8, 4, or 2. You don't know. So there's a little bit of deduction there. But as I play more cards, like vertically and horizontally, you'll have a better idea, and people can kind of deduce that. And if you have trouble with it, they gave you like a dry erase marker, and your player sheet, which reminds you what the actions you could do, has this little dry erase board. So you can logically deduce together as a group like what that card can or can't be. And the game plays up to 5 players, so you have 5 of these dry erase boards. And that's so what's one of the things you can do? You can give a clue, and you can place a card. Why can't I do this? Vertically saying it is one of these things, or you can raise it horizontally saying it's not one of these things. You can also give a card to another player, and that player will have to place it horizontally or vertically, giving the rest of the table information. You can bide your time, meaning that you could draw more cards. But as you draw cards, you'll have to burn cards. And if you play a game, you might have more than everyone. Kind of begins the game with one of these infiltrators here that you have to identify. But maybe there's a game, let's say you have a 4-player game, and the mission says you have to find like 5 infiltrators. So eventually you'll identify one, and then you'll have to draw another one. Some of these actions require you burning cards from the top of the deck. And if naturally, like most games, if you get to the bottom of the deck, you lose the game. But the twist is that eventually you're going to have to guess. You're going to have to guess who the identity of someone's card. It's a red 10, it's a red 6. And what you're going to do is this comes out here, this little board, and you're going to put the gun on it. So it has this nice little table presence on the table, and there are these set bullets. And you're going to take a bullet, spend the bullet, and then you take the gun and you point it at the card and you say red 6. And either you're right or you're wrong. If you're wrong, well, then you wasted one of the set amount of bullets that you have in the game. And no harm, no foul, but you're losing your chances to win. If you run out of bullets, naturally you lose. And this game is just really, really fun. It plays so smoothly. And when you kill cards or discard cards, the discard pile is open to everyone. And so you can logically deduce, oh, it has to be yellow. These yellows haven't played. Let's run it down. So it's one of these. I have that card in my hand. I can't reveal that information. So I know it's one of these two. And it's just really, really fun. I didn't think it was going to be fun. And I watched the playthrough online. I go, that looks really interesting. And then I got to play it, and it's as good as I thought it would be, if not better. The missions do get harder and harder. I think we jumped up and tried like a 17, where it had like mission 17 has like nine suspects, and you have 9 bullets, so there can be 0 mistakes, and you play with all the suits. So it's really hard, and there are special rules for some of the later missions that make it really difficult. And it's cute how each mission also has like a nice little comic up top here to kind of add to this ongoing story of the game. This is one that I think is really worth getting and just flat out buying. Like you don't have to try it, because I definitely really, really like it myself. I played this at this weekend, and some of my friends that were there. I'm busy running around doing meetings for most of the convention, but some people came up there and was like, Jay, what's a good game to play? I'm like, oh, you got to play Infiltrators from Broadway, because it's a really good social deduction game. And I like this because there's no arguing. There's no traitor here. There's no fighting, arguing, and belly aching. Like, it's just nice, cold, calculated deduction, which is really nice. And yeah, this is one that I think is going to be do really well. I think if you're a publisher in North America or in Europe, I think this is one that's worth licensing. This might be problematic, so you could probably talk to them about it. But it fits the noir theme. You know, it's not just they're willy-nilly. Like, it definitely fits the noirish theme that the game is trying to portray. And the card art is so great. When you have the cards there, it just adds to all that flavor of the game. And that has been Infiltrators. I really recommend this. If I had to make a top 10 list of games going to Essen, like new games going to Essen, I think this might easily be on that list. Yeah, really good game. I love all these non-yelling social deduction games. I recently bought Vita Moors for the same reason. Yeah, it's really nice, right? It's nice to have that. What I look for and when I play social deduction games is, like, do they give something for the players to focus on? Is something that I find really interesting. Like, as opposed to like, oh, you must be on that team, you must be on that team. If there's something for them to focus on, that's kind of open information, that makes it really, really interesting. Like, and this, you have like it's cooperative. You have the bullet count. Like, you can't miss any of your guesses. You have the toy factor of the gun. You have like the nice story art here. You have the deduction as you're slowly deducing what each card could be. I played a 2-player game of this in, I don't know, like 20 minutes. And it felt fun. Like, we talked our way through the game. Yeah, really, really good. That is Broadway. If you're interested in Broadway, Broadway is located at 4H102. Hall 4, aisle, column H102. Now we are going to go to, we'll jump straight to Gotani, which is, I guess most people might say is Gota 2. It's a Japanese publisher. They're at 4K111, 4K101, 111, not 101. The board flip says Essen pre-order pickup is available too. Nice. Yes, it is. So we're going to talk about this. This is Where Am I? Alice in a Mad Tea Party. If you know about this game, then you know about this game. If you don't know about this game, your life might be changed, because this is what the game board looks like. It's a tea party with 3D components. And this is beautiful to look at. This is I don't know if it's social deduction, definitely a deduction game. It's not cooperative at all, because it is competitive, but it's a deduction game. But the cool factor of this game, I mean, let alone if you really like the IP of Alice in Wonderland, that's great. You have like these player boards, which are postcards with this lovely, lovely hand-drawn art, right? It's just really, really beautiful. I love hand-drawn art, right? And then it's a postcard, and it's a postcard because points are stamps in this game. I do have a beef with this game, and that's the insert, because the insert you kind of have to lift up to put the stamps in the bottom, because everything won't fit there. I'm not a big fan of that. I don't know why I'm looking around. I'll tell you a secret, and that is even the publisher himself. I saw that he was playtesting a new variant of this game, and I got to meet up with him and play it with him. He took apart his insert and took the insert out and just used the box. And I'm like, Kazu, I saw that. What are you doing there? And he's like, okay, I'm sorry. Anyway, maybe he doesn't like it that I said that. But the stamps are really great too. Like, the stamps have this great hand-drawn art. Like, here's the 5-point stamp. And I'll show you more, because why not? There's 5-point and the 2-point and the 1. 5, 2, 1. Oh my goodness. Why do I have sausage fingers? Here we go. Here. Yeah, this nice little hand-drawn art is really, really nice. I really, really love this. Oh, let's do this with the camera. Okay. And what you're going to do, let's see, I think you have room here. I rearranged the camera today for this stream to do that. You get these 3D components here. It's just bizarre, and I don't know if anyone sees this, but see, this is a table leg, and you're going to build a 3D table. And I think the setup can be a little bit of a bear, but it's not that big of a deal. Like, some Euro games definitely take significantly longer than this. And you have a table. You have an actual 3D table, and that's the table. And what's even cuter is that it's double-sided. So if you like the blue tablecloth, you can have the blue tablecloth. And you put this here. You put a table on a table. And you also have chairs. And you have chairs. And the chairs are actually really easy to assemble. You just slide 1, 2, 3. And look at the chairs. Really, really cute. And you put the chair next to the table, obviously. And what's cool about the chairs is they are seats for, well, I mean, technically there are seats anyway, but you have the chairs here. And you kind of have to deduce who all the other players are. In this version, there are 4 characters. I believe there's a very limited edition that comes with 6 players, some 6 characters. But you can see here, like, here they are, and I love the hand-drawn art. It's just so beautiful. You have the Queen of Hearts, the Mad Hatter, the White Rabbit, and Alice. These are double-sided. And let's see here, freaking adorable. Jesus Gibran Garcia Medina asks, today, will you talk about your roll and write Bloody War? Yes, I will. I will talk about that. In fact, it's right here on the stack. After this booth, we're going to go straight to the Taiwan booth. So I think I'll do it after this game. How does that sound, Jesus? Good. And it's really cool. But the best part about this is this blows my mind. It's actual porcelain like cutlery plates, and they're all worth different points. So it's like the big plate is worth 2 points, small plate is worth 1 point, cups are 1 point. The big tea pitcher is worth points depending on the number of cups on the table, right? And you're going to take turns. Like, look at that. That's just really, really beautiful there. And I absolutely love it. So on your turn, you're going to do what you can do a number of things. You can guess the identity of one of the other players, and you have like this great hand-drawn art here. Look at that. And you place it on someone else's board. That's one thing you could do. You can take like a plate and just put it on the table at one of the chair locations. You take a cup, put it on the table, and put it at one of the chair locations. You could take like the pitcher, put it here. You have the sugar bowl here, and then eventually you'll start taking these character tokens, and it doesn't have to be yours; it could be anyone's, and placing them at the table. And then once all characters are placed at the table, or at the chairs, should I say, then that round ends, and then you reveal to see who guessed right, who guessed wrong. You calculate the points, and then whoever had the most points will get X amount of stamps. Whoever got the second most points will get Y amount of stamps. That ranking changes during player count, and that's it. That's the game. But it works really, really well. And this is a quiet deduction game where you're just there. Yeah, you can kind of chat and what's going on. You might have to constantly ask. Like some people can calculate the plate points better than I can. But yeah, I can't. I mean, the cup fits on the cup. Like there's these plates, and you put the cup on the cup. Like that's nice. And there's this nice little rose pattern on the cup. Really, really nice and so bizarre. And like it looks like you're having tea time, as a kiddo. And people come and look at that. When you walk by, people will look at this and be like, "What is that game? Is that Alice in Wonderland?" And you say, "Yes." Come down, sit down, pull up a chair, and it's really nice to see like there are publishers out there redefining what we think of as a game. Like we can gamify almost anything. So why not this? Does it have to be Amiibo? Does it have to be a square tile? Do you have to have a game board? Can't it just be a 3D table itself? Now, it is kind of problematic that you do have to take apart the table and the chairs all the time, but it's not that big of a deal, and it it can be troublesome setting up the game. Not because of putting everything together, just because everyone wants to take pictures all the time. And like this is one of these games that's very Instagrammable, right? Because you have this nice 3D tea party that you build together, and then people just want to take pictures of it, and then you do scoring. So there's a hidden phase in the game where before final scoring, there's final photoing. And you put all of this back into the box here. Oh, I forgot my table leg. Let's show you some of the cards in the game because the artwork for this is really, really great. If you have trouble like me remembering what all the plates and stuff do, you have like this nice little card here to remind you. Down below, you'll see the rankings for stamps. These are the ID cards, and again, you have like that great hand-drawn art. These are and then these are the cards you use to guess, and the cards you guess are envelopes. I think that's so neat, and like it's just so neat. And they didn't have to do that, but I'm so glad they did. And the artwork on these is just beautiful. Beautiful, gorgeous game. This is something that's definitely something that's an eye-catching. You could bring this out. If people like say they don't like games, like you could say like, well, have you seen this game? And if they like Alice in Wonderland, that's even better because it definitely catches on to that theme. We can get that in there. No, the stamps. See, one of these things here that you kind of do. Take it up, put the stamps in, put it back. Oh, and you know what's really interesting is that the first player token is perfectly thematic. It's a pocket watch. Like that's, how cute is that? So now we put those in there, you put the insert back in, and then we are good to go. Bye-bye. Love you, babe. That's my wife. She's going off to be responsible, and I'm going to be here and childish and do fun live streaming stuff. She's not jealous at all. Okay, moving on. And the cool thing is that the box is a book. Nice. It's just, I like these little, not extra mile, extra inches that publishers do to just bring you into the game. And I think that's really, really neat. The game's really short, plays in like 20 minutes, but it has amazing table presence. It's better than most of the games on this table today. Coffee break. Yes, please. She's going to make me tea. Spoiled, I know. Very, very spoiled. But today, let me clean this up here. Whew. All right, so Jesus, just for you. I got you, buddy. We're going to move now to the big booth, and that is Taiwan Board Game Design, located in Hall 4, D120. That's Hall 4, D120. I believe their booth will be orange again this year, so you'll just look for the giant orange booth. Most of the games here are from them, so we'll be definitely talking about them for quite a while here. And Jesus will begin with the best game coming to Essen this year, by far, completely not biased at all, and that's World War II, War and Rights. Best game coming to Essen. Just buy all the copies there. Just go there and be like, I'm buying 20 copies. Yeah, I just want all the copies. Just buy all the copies there and tell them you're buying it because the designer is one of the co-designers. I'm one of 3 co-designers, is just really cool. You could do that, right? For me. And then you're going to take these games and then give them to every single publisher in Europe, and then they'll print the game like 5 million times, because that would be really nice. Moving on. I really like the box art. I think 2+ did a really good job with the box art. I wanted to make, I think the story behind this is Wei Cheng. You can see here, Wei Cheng. And then you have Jerry here. Wei Cheng helped, he published Mini World War II, which is one of my top 20 games from Taiwan list. And he was at a playtest. Taipei has a multiple playtest groups for board games. They have one that meets like every week, and they have that group meets up every week, and then several groups have weekly meetups. But then there's a monthly meetup where all these other groups come together and everyone plays each other's games. And then there's an annual meetup where people come and play, and they invite the whole city to come in, and people they get a big space. All the publishers are there, all playtesting their games. And that's a lot of fun to go. And I love the playtesting culture here. It's really, really great, very positive stuff. But Wei Cheng sat down and he showed me this nice, simple war game that he wanted, because he wanted to have like nice, simple war game. He really liked the meeples from Mini World War II. And the meeples are here as well. Meeples, for the lack of a better term. But they're like these really cute like tank and ship meeples. And he wanted to make like a nice lighter war game that's fun and approachable. And he sat me down. He said, let's play this game. I was like, sure. And I played it. I looked at it. I was like, I don't know if this is fun. And he just came. I'm kind of known as being the butcher of the playtest group, where I'll just kind of be a little bit direct and honest and be like, I don't know. I don't like it. Why don't you cut out some mechanics? I think you have too many mechanics. Cut them out. Can you do more with less? I'm a little bit of a butcher. And I told him, like, I think there's a lot of potential in this game, but let's develop it tonight for fun and see where we go. And that conversation led to weekly meetups. And we eventually designed this game together with our friend Jerry. I think the 3 of us that night kind of met and developed a game that night. And I would say the game that we developed that night is, I would say, like 80%, 85% of the game. So we designed that game, like 80% of it, like that night. And then we slowly developed it throughout the course of the game. So I'm going to spend like the rest of the live stream talking about my game. No, I'm just kidding. This game we designed this for something that's really interesting. I want to talk about it later, because a lot of the games here do that. Taiwan does something so unique. They call it the 150 convention, 150. And they call it the 150 convention because you go to the convention and board game publishers or just little indie designers are there and they sell games and they only cost 150 NT. That's about $5 US. And they can't cost more than that. So when you go to the convention, you pay like I think like I think it's like 200 NT or 300 NT, like $10, and you get one game for free. So you go there, you play the games, and a lot of publishers design games. In fact, a lot of games that you've played from Taiwan, like Walking in Burano Roll and Rights, Mini Park here, Pathogen from last year, like a lot of these games, including this one, War and Right, were all at the 150 convention initially, and then got developed later on to better looking games. So it's a really cool convention. I don't know if it's worth flying out just to experience because it's just like, like a day. But if you want to schedule your trip to Taiwan and around that, that's also cool to do. Although I think there are other board game conventions that would be a little bit more fun to schedule around. But it's definitely something that's really interesting and very unique to Taiwan because I've never heard of that anywhere. This is a 1 versus X game. One player will be the Axis, either Japan or Germany, or for the full 5-player game, you can have Japan and Germany there. And then the other players will play the Allies, and the Allies are America, Great Britain, and the Soviet Union. And they have different theaters that you can play on. So the maps are really short. I think there are 6 variants to this game, and that's because, well, there are different versions of it. So you have like the Asia map here. The green here is land. The blue here is water. The purple is a mixture of both. This is also colorblind friendly. You can see here like the hybrid lands are these little mountain peaks. The land are the squares, and the water kind of looks like the Sydney Opera House. And so this is Asia right there. Like here you can see Japan here. And then there's also the European map here. You can see the Italian boot there. And then you could also combine that together to play those maps. You can play that version. There's also the fictional America map, because we just said, hey, why not? And have North and South America there. And you could also do the Pacific Theater. So of that, so you can add the Pacific Theater, and you could also do the World Theater and have the whole game there. And you could actually do these. You could do this one. So I think total there are like 6 different versions, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, or maybe 7. I can't remember. But yeah, there's you could do all of that there. And what's really cool, and you'll notice that there are flags here, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But you get these. Now, the publisher didn't want to do dry erase boards because they needed to keep the cost down because they had already had so many meeples that they had to do. But this is what the game looks like here. Each round is a year of the war, so 1940, 41, and it ends at 45. The war didn't end in 45, but we had the game end at 45 because it's better mechanically. I think 6 rounds is more than enough. 7 rounds, I think, is a little bit too much. So we did that. And on your turn, you have, I think they wanted to do player shields. And I remember telling them, like, I am so against player shields. I just don't like player shields because I just hate having to move the shield for like stuff like that. Like I find that a little annoying. And I came up with a player aid, like a player board that's here. That reminds you, this is how tanks move. This is how ships move. These are all the different techs that you can have if you want to play the advanced game. This is when your techs activate. So the different countries all have available tech to them. So every time you play the game, you can use different technology cards so they can play. So like if you look at Japan, like all their tech activates in the early part of the war. And then if you look in America, you can see that their tech activates towards the end of the war. And even like the Soviet Union, like they're a little bit more blocked off. So the first 3 years, no tech, last 2 years, tech. So you'll find that I designed it that way. I was in charge of doing all the technology. was that I wanted the game to feel that the Axis is pushing really hard, they're really strong at front, and the Allies just have to hold the front and hold their ground and stay alive, and eventually coordinate together, work together, and then push back. And hopefully they can push the balance back and then have enough points at the end of the game to win. So on your turn, you're just going to write your orders down. And you have a nice little pencil here. And you have this grid. The world map is kind of divided into these blocks. And you'll notice that these numbers here associate to the numbers that are on the map. It looks a little weird at first, but after a while, you just get used to it. And there are labels there to let you know which map is which. This looks a little long, and that's because if you notice here, like there's 1, 2, 3, 4. The world map is 3, but if you want to move from this map to this map, we decided to include it on the player sheet just so it's written a little bit better. And then you're just gonna like each, depending on the scenario, maybe you have 3 action points, or maybe you have 7 action points if you're the Axis powers. And then you're gonna give orders to all your units, and you're gonna write your orders down, and you can cover it up. You're gonna cover it up with your player aid, and then when you're done, you reveal. I thought this was a lot better than having a player shield because it doubly serves as an aid to the players, shows the tech, reminds you what the tech does, and then you can just slide it off and move it down. And that's a lot easier and less annoying than a player shield. And then you'll move the pieces around, and if there are pieces that share the same area, well, then they'll have a nice little war, and they fight. And it's pretty much just a one-to-one thing. And then you're going to do that for 6 years, and then whoever has the most points wins. But how do you get points? And that was the one thing that we developed part of that night. I said that just doing that is kind of boring. You need something for the players to focus on. So we created these flag locations here on the map. And these are parts, if you notice, like this is the UK right here. This is Germany here. They have 2 flags. The Soviet Union has 2 main flags here. And you can see here that Germany already has a foothold in Africa here. If you notice on the America map, like you have Great Britain with Canada, and then you have the US has their flags here. And if you notice here on Japan, like there's the Soviet Union, there's Great Britain down here, and then there's Japan here. If you control that unit, if you control that space, meaning that only you are there, you'll gain 1 point per flag. It doesn't matter if it's your flag or anyone else's flag, it's just 1 point per flag. And then you're going to take the difference of that, and then you're going to move the LON board, or the League of Nations board, and that's here. Board, but to keep costs down, we decided to put it on the shield here, because when I design games, I always think about it as sections. Like, what part of the table are you paying attention to? Are you paying attention to the hand? Are you paying attention to the table? Paying attention to that? And the more places that the players have to look, the harder it is for the player to remember. And then as you design, you have to think about which part is more important. Ideally, stuff that's close to the player is more important. So we decided to have this here, because their focus is going to be here anyway. So we have the League of Nations board here. So as you can see here, maybe if it zooms in, here's the League of Nations board, and you're going to circle where it is. So this is towards the Axis, and this is towards the Allies. And then maybe if the Allies control 3 flags more, then they'll just move it 1, 2, 3. That's it. This doesn't mean you instantly win the game, but it does give you benefits here. So when you're on this side, so on at the end of the game, if the Allies are on this side, if they control most of the League of Nations, they win. If the Axis is on one of these 4 spaces at the end of the game, they win. And that's how it's just teeter-tottering back and forth. You're trying to gain control for most of the planet. And at the end of the game, whoever has the most influence in the League of Nations wins the game. Now, throughout the course of the game, though, there are some fun little spots here. So there's a benefit here, you just win, but here there's some extra benefits. And we'll talk about that now. So these are diplomacy and combat. So the Axis is really unique. If they have their token all the way over here, if they have full control of the League of Nations, they win ties in combat, which is very brutal in this game. Because in this game, if you lose everything. So if I have 3 units, you have 2 units, your 2 units are destroyed, my 2 units are destroyed, and I have 1. So when you lose units in this game, it can be quite brutal. I wanted it that way. We wanted it that way because we wanted to force the allies to work together, and they really need to work together in order to win. But if you're here, then you get UN ties in diplomacy. And what does diplomacy mean? Well, some of the maps here, and you can look here. Let's see. Yeah, let's look at this one. So here's the Europe map, and this is what we recommend that you start with. You see, okay, well, the UK starts with 2 ships here, and they start with 2 tanks here. And Germany starts with tanks, some tanks and the boats, and then Russia just only has tanks. But you notice that this is a tan tank, that's a tan tank, and I guess here is Dunkirk, right? Like they've already invaded France and they're trying to leave. So what's going to happen is that on your turn you can have diplomacy, and then what we do is we do diplomacy 3, 2, 1. We put our fingers on the board just because it's a little bit easier and faster. And if you have to take a diplomacy action here, then you can win control of that neutral tank, which is nice because then you have a free unit. And the different things that you could do on your turn is you can move units, you can produce units, and you could do diplomacy to gain units. And that's most like the 3 most things you could do, like produce, diplomacy, and send them out to do attacking stuff. And so you're fighting for control of these flags, and these flags will give you points. And those points will determine the League of Nations and how it swings. And that's fine, but we wanted to give more because I was just on this developing rampage here. So we have every year of the game, there's 6 years to the game. We have what are these battle cards here. So, and these are historical battles. And you can see them here. And I think I worked with them to help create a layout here. Let's see here. So let's have one that exists. So here we go. Where that focuses. So as you can see here, this is midway. It takes place in 42. So you know what round it's going to take place in. And it has L2 there, and that shows where it is on the map. And then the axis, if the axis wins, it shows you what they win. And if the allies win, it shows you what they win. So if you're an ally, you get 2 neutral ships. If you're the axis, well, you get the Japan gets a boat there, and you get a Japanese flag there. And the flag is really important because, as I said, like the flags are where you gain points in the game. So the more flags that appear in the game, the more places there are to contend. So there are more places to gain points in the game. So you definitely want to get these battles. But what's interesting is that these battles only occur at certain points in the game. So let's say, midway happens in 42. Well, at 40, you can slowly begin to move units there and amass an army there. And so you could slowly try to get prepared for that battle. But every year, but there might be like 2 battles in 1 year. So how are you going to divide your forces? There might be a battle every year. There might be 2 battles in 1 year, a gap, and then a gap of 2 years and 2 battles in another year. It's changed. And these battle cards we helped you out by, if you put them on the map, like we showed you where a lot of these battle cards could be. Like there's the Battle of Moscow here. And there are all these different battles here. Even on the America map, for the imaginary scenario, we put some stuff there for like San Francisco or New York, because there's a Battle of San Francisco, we thought. And even here, Buenos Aires. And so as you play the game, there are these battle cards here, and they have like these cute little tokens here. I was really impressed with 2+ what they did. They showed us a lot of love. I'm so happy. They have these little flags here that you put onto the map so you could see. And the neutral units, I definitely want to show that to you because I think this is so cool. I'm so happy that they did this. So this is the regular boat. Let me show you what that looks like here. All right, that's the regular boat. And then let me show you what the neutral boat looks like. And then this is the neutral boat. And you can see that there's this cut into the boat right there. And they do that because there's room for a flag token, and you slide it in. And now the neutral boat looks like that. So now you can see that it's controlled by America, which is so neat. I really love that. I think it's really, really, really cute. And they did that with the tanks as well. So you can see here that this is so that's an Axis tank right there. And I think that's really neat. They didn't have to do that, but I think that was a really cool solution, because we were talking about how to do that, thinking about different ways to do that, and they came up with that solution. Great. And they have like these, but the year tokens that you put onto the board, right? So you have like these nice little year tokens here that you put on the board, and you can just drop it down there, like on the map here, so you can see it. And you can see like this nice little map. Hey, 1941, New York. That's going to happen. And then we sometimes recommend like taking the battle card and putting it above the board to help, or put them here to remind the players, like, hey, there's a battle here. You just look up, and that's where it is. So there's less friction when you play the game. And that's it. So every year you're moving troops, going to those battles, and doing that. And that's fine. We could do that. We could have ended the game right there. And that's most of the game. But I said, no, let's have some more fun and just develop even more. I just kept on developing. And so we developed technologies that are unique to every faction. And the factions themselves are already divided up very differently. So like the Soviet Union only has tanks. They don't have ships. Great Britain has a lot of ships, but very few tanks. America is a little bit back and forth. Japan has a lot of ships, very few tanks. And Germany has a nice balance as well. But we developed these technologies, and these technologies are all things I worked on. So let's see here. I'm pretty proud of these. I'm pretty happy with these. So we did. We had like these nice little tanks here. So you have the USS Enterprise, because I'm a big Star Trek fan. So you have a nice, cool boat. We have Rosie the Riveter, which is the woman with a big bicep, showing that we could do it. So I took a lot of wartime propaganda there. So like that means that America can produce units twice as fast because of Rosie the Riveter. You have paratroopers, because paratrooping became a thing in World War II. So you could just drop stuff down. I worked really hard on the UI for the cards to make it really clear. Like it's 1 AP to use. This is the year that you could use it in. This is a cute little graphic to show how it works. This shows what letter you write on your board, what the tech is, and this shows you when it takes effect. And these are the different phases in the game. So I try to make it like ultra clear for all the timing. Because with war games, you got to be really clear with timing, right? And they have like DD tanks, which is something that exists with like these like amphibious tanks. You have Fat Man, naturally, because you can't have a World War II game without that. Like you have the field headquarters from America. I really love these. Hold on, let me fix the camera here really quickly. Here we go. There are these great little things here. Like Japan has Yusoroku Yamamoto, who was like this commander, and there was a lot of propaganda out to catch him. And if you could find him, then you gain points and flags. Like there's the Kokutai, which is like this style attack that they used in the war for Japan. Like they have Battleship Yamato, naturally, because you can't, if you're a big anime fan like me, you have to have the Battleship Yamato. So you have this big, powerful ship. And the big ships like the USS Enterprise and Battleship Yamato are so cool, because this is what they did. This is what 2+ did. They made this little cardboard here and to help show what it is. And then that's it. And that's what you do. And that's the ship. And they created this little space here so you can take it. You could take your boat and stick it in there like that. And that's on the board. And if you look at the thumbnail for this video, you'll see kind of like what the map looks like. And it looks so bright and colorful with all the meeples on it. Here's the back of the box. And yeah, it just looks really clear and really fun. We just wanted to have a nice, fun game that's like diplomacy in 30 minutes is the short pitch on here. The technologies also include stuff like, let's see here, you have the Battleship Yamato, you have shipyards, the Fujinagara shipyards. You have kamikaze planes that come. You could like sacrifice your zeros to do damage to like allied units. You can get planes, and if you want zeros, and yeah, look, you actually have little planes that you could use to fly and do little bombing raids. Like they worked really hard to get the toy factory in here. Like the Soviet Union, their technologies are named after propaganda posters that they use for recruiting, like the motherland is calling you. I'm a big James Bond fan, so I had to have a Smash card in there. Like there's no land behind the Volga. Let's crush the enemy under an avalanche of steel. Like these are all propaganda things that they used. Here's some that you might if you're familiar with British propaganda at the time, like all British finish the war. Like you have the doubting system, which is one of the things that helped, like the nice radar system that helped them alert them when there were bombs coming. Like there are all these texts that are designed for the war. So every time you play the game, they're a little bit different. And you could choose different texts depending on what you want to do, depending on the scenario. Some texts are better for some maps than others, and we left room for you to explore. We definitely recommend that the first time you play, you don't use the text, as it can be a little overwhelming. Because the regular base game, I think, is good enough, but the texts make it really fun. And knowing what texts other people have and knowing like what they could do makes it really interesting. And we tried to make the text, designed it in a way that's fitting for each faction. So like America, when you play America, America needs help getting out of America, right? Because they're in America and they need to get to Europe or Asia fast. So we focused on theirs doing like paratroopings. So you paratroop in, you maybe have the field base there. So now you get summon bases from your field base. So they're all about producing quickly and traveling quickly. Great Britain is all about controlling the sea and moving the sea as fast as you can, like having big ships that are super strong and like traveling the sea really quickly. Germany has U-boats because I want submarines in this game. So we came up with a system for U-boats I was really excited about. And we did that. Japan has a lot of fun airplanes, airplane fun stuff that they do with airplanes. So, but this is just a nice, quick game. Now, there were some, I guess, Taiwanese board game influencers who did a playthrough of this game, and they played it for like 2 hours because they got really into it. But it's not. And then afterwards, they're like, "This is a much lighter game. It's probably just should be played in 30 minutes." I'm like, yeah, it's kind of the idea. We do recommend maybe like a stopwatch or a set time. The one hidden layer that I put into this game is that, like I said before, like the allies, each individual ally doesn't have many units to control on the map, but the allies together collectively have a force that's equal to the Axis power. So the only way for that to work is if you work together to win. But the problem is that as you're writing your orders down, the Axis power can hear. So you are forced to kind of create a shorthand when you play the game because the Axis power is there and they can hear everything that you're saying. So it's one of these cute little fun ways there, and you're trying to time yourself, not take too much time. Maybe you want to bluff and wink at your opponent. One of the cute little things that we came up with towards the end of the development was that behind the player sheets, there's War and Right, Instrument of Surrender, and this is a peace treaty. And you write down the peace treaty. You can mark the date and time. We lose to this person on this date and time, and yeah, and it's fun. And we executed a QR code so you can share it on your social media there. And yeah, we created, because why not? Like, why not have a nice little peace treaty? And you can take this with you as like a souvenir, put it on your fridge, put it on your game shelf, put it on your forehead, whatever you want. So yeah, and that's the game that I co-designed, War and Right. So I'm pretty happy with that. I think we kept the rights to the mechanic system. So that way we can develop more War and Right games if we want to down the road. But yeah, that's the best game coming to Essen, War and Right, 血战, Bloody War or Right War. So, and if you don't know, like 血战, as I said before, like there are two characters here. I came up with this name, War and Right, because I thought it would be cute. But they came up with the Chinese name, 血战. 血, this character means right. So right war is literally what it means in Chinese. But 血 is also the same sound as blood. So it means bloody war, but it's written as written war. And that's what they do this a lot with Chinese. You could think of it as the English equivalent of like puns that we do. They do the same thing. Jesus. All right. Jesus, does that answer your questions? Do you have any questions about War and Right too? Because I could talk more about it. Initially, I was supposed to go to Essen to help out with the booth and help pitch the game and talk to people and stuff, but I couldn't make it to Essen this year. Any questions at all? Yes, yes, no, no? Because if not, we're going to move on to the rest of TBD, because TBD has a lot of interesting games this year. So, yeah, you should run and pick up Warren, right? But if you have time, you can also run and pick up this other game here. Let's see here. But the big game from Taiwan Board Game Design this year is most definitely going to be this one, and that is Taiwan Night Market. Now, I rank this in the top 20 games of all time from Taiwan, and this is an auction game, and the base game itself is pretty good, but with the expansion, which is included in here, is amazing. The first off is like the artwork is just so punk rock. Like I absolutely love it. I think it's just so cool. Like that little booth there they have with the cat. They found a local artist in Taiwan. A lot of publishers in Taiwan do this. This is a trend that's happening here. They'll find some local artist who has like a following, like maybe a lot of people follow them, and like this artist will naturally produce like lots of swag, like lots of t-shirts and buttons and little things that people and their fans can buy, like on the online shop store, and they'll reach out to them and be like, "Hey, can we use some of your artwork in a game?" And they'll give them money, and they'll do the artwork for a game, and then they incorporate that into the game. And it's great because then fans of that artist will buy the game. There's a local crowdfunding thing here called Zugzug, and that's what Taiwanese use for their local Kickstarter campaigns, because Taiwan is not allowed to use Kickstarter. So anytime you see a Taiwanese company or brand using Kickstarter, they're doing it through another publisher, like, or they're registered the company, maybe as an LLC in the US or in Japan, or maybe through Hong Kong. So that way they could run a Kickstarter campaign. It's one of these weird loopholes that they have to do because of geopolitics and board games. But anyway, moving on to Taiwan Night Market. Here we go. We have an hour, and I've only talked about 4 games. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. We're on par for the course. Now, Taiwan Night Market is a really, really good auction game. I did a review of this already. I did a playthrough of this, so feel free to check that out. This is great. Bob, who is the designer, he does Good Game Studio. I asked him why he came up with that, and he's like, "Oh, I was young when he made this. Like before he started making board games, he was doing other creative work. So he created a company, and it's just from GG. Like if you play online games here, like shoot 'em ups, especially like Taiwanese players, will put GG for like good game, at the end of the game. But GG doesn't mean like, hey, it's a good game. It was a close game. It's more like I smoked you, I pwned you, good game. And they'll just say that to each other all the time. And the components are just really, really, really nice, except for the money. I'm not a big fan of the money. But I mean, I don't use money in games like anymore. Like I just use my poker chips, like everyone, most people. They've upgraded the components, so you have like these nice little cat-shaped meeples. Here, like you can see like these little cat-shaped cat head meeples, and then you have like these taller double-sided printed meeples here for the bidding, which is really nice. So let's do that. Everything's in bags, moving bags. Oh, these are my mini express cubes. I took out the train cubes and put them in cubes, but it couldn't fit in the box, so I put them in here. And hey, in the last video, I said that I have like these little player aids to help me play the games, and like this is one of them that I made for myself. The rule book is pretty solid. I was pretty happy with it. This is the expansion board. This is the heart of the game. But essentially, here is the main board, and it's single-sided. It didn't raise enough money on Kickstarter to do the expansion board. So there's only one night market map, which is based off of the Shirley Night Market here in Taipei, which you definitely go to. But I've been pushing Bob to make the maps available as a PNP online on BGG. I've been pushing him for it. So maybe you could push him to go to the forums. Be like, Bob, we want other maps, other layout night market maps. Anyway, what's going to happen is that you're going to draw some cards randomly, and different lots on here are going to come up for auction. So let's see here. And you'll put these little bidding things here on the map. So let's just hold it up this way. And if it's a regular location, you'll put it here, right? So 0, 1, 2, 4. If it's a yellow location, because it's a better spot, it's going to be worth more. And then you're going to take like these taller ones, these taller meeples here, and then you're going to just bid on it. Take turns bidding them and trying to outweigh each other. Like I just love the artwork on these. They look so great. Oh, Steve Poppers. Hey, Jay, it's Steve. We met over the past weekend at Type A Original Board Game. Yeah, I remember Steve. What's up? Hey, Jay, it's Steve. We met. Okay. What's up, Steve? Good to meet you. So this is Taiwan Night Market. So you're going to bid on these locations, and then at the end of the bidding, you'll win. And then you could turn this into any different kinds of shops. And the shops, I mean, all the cards have different artwork, but they all kind of mean the same thing. They have, you have like noodle shops, ramen shops. And let me show you some of the artwork on the cards, because the art is so punk rock and cool. I love the attitude of these. These look so great. So you have like, this is like a sweet shop, like a mooncake shop right here. And it's a mooncake, so it has like a sci-fi theme. You have like this cotton candy shop here. You have, what is this one? Like a little fried area there. And then you also have like bubble tea. So you could have a bubble tea shop here. It just looks so cool. I really, really love it. I love the artwork here. And you have like some savory goods here. So you have like lots of meats. Like here's like a hot dog place there. There's some Chinese there as well. I think that's just really, really cool. They didn't have to have all this detailed artwork, but I love the fact that they have it. It's really, really nice. And to make sure that you have the ownership of it, that's what they gave like these little cat heads for. So you can see like these tall cats with the art on it, that's for bidding. And these small, tiny cat heads are to show who owns that shop. And then what's going to happen is you can have these very adorable customers come out. Like these are the backs, so you don't know which of the 4 flavors there are. And then you see this guy, so you see this tiger here. Let's see on the back side here. Let's see if I can grab one out so you can see one a little better. Okay, so yeah, here's Mr. Crocodile and Mr. Mouse. I'll zoom them up here for you. Yeah, very, very cute, right? They look so adorable. I love it. And if you look on the map, you'll see them on the map, right? Here they are there. You can see them gathering at the entrance. And they could appear there. They could appear here in the yellow part here. And they could even appear here. Now you'll see some signs up here. And this shows you the number. So you have potentially come here through the course of the game. You see here 2, 2, 3, 3. Naturally, there's going to be a lot more. So you have like, 6, 7, 6, 6. So there's going to be a lot more coming out there. And then they're going to walk. They're going to follow these lines. And they're going to go to the first store that they see that matches what they want. So like this little tiger here, he wants, F is there to show you which of the entrances he's going to enter through. And then the green is there to show you what he's thinking about. He's thinking about ramen. He wants ramen. So he's going to walk until he finds the first ramen shop. And he's going to walk from top to the bottom. So if you own a ramen shop, he'll go in there and he'll give you money. And that's pretty much the game. So you bid on a new location comes up, you bid on it, you build a store, and then the customers walk, and then you try and get them. But it's a little mean because you could see where the customers are. You can see who's coming out and where they're going to go. And sometimes if like there's a lot of blue people here, and then maybe Bob has a blue shop here, and he's going to get all these. Well, then I'm going to bid on this shop here, and I'm going to build blue, and I'm going to take all those customers, and Bob is left in the dust. And that happens in this game. What's also interesting is that not all these spaces are created equal. And you can see it here, like, let's see here. Like you could see like there's a spot here and a spot here. If you build like the same shop here, So maybe I own this one and it's bubble tea, and I open this one here and it's bubble tea. Well, then this shop is a bigger shop, and now every customer that comes in makes even more money. So there's an incentive to get at least three, because three will give you even more money. Four, a lot of four is the same as three. So you want to do that, or you can diversify and that get more different types of customers, or you target a customer and get more money from like one customer. So it's completely up to you. There's like flexibility there, and that in and of itself is a solid auction game. It's fine. It's a good auction game. But what makes the game awesome is this expansion board, and this expansion board is just beautiful. Now it's really nice. Up here, you have a nice little round counter. With the lantern. That's really cute here. Here you can't really see the tags, but here it's like for player count. So if you have 3 players here, and then everyone else is here, and here rounds 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Well, here are different texts, and in each round. So in round 1, you could choose one of these abilities. Round 2, you could choose anything from 2 or 1. Round 3, you could do 3, 2, or 1. Round 4, you could do 4, 3, 2, or 1, and 5 is 5, 3, 2, or 1. And these allow you to respond to how the opponents are playing. So maybe you're not making any money. Maybe if you're not fighting for like these prime locations, so you have a little bit more money, well then maybe you can get a cart, and you stick a cart somewhere, and you're going to get $3, like no matter what, right? Change the color of the shop that you have from one color to another. Maybe this will give you more money. This will give you more flexibility of the customers that can come out. This is a table, right? So maybe you want a table, so that way you can have more customers coming into your shop. This speaker is hilarious because there are speakers in the night market, and you're just really loud. So let's go back to the previous situation where like blue customers coming. Bob has a blue bubble tea shop. I build it here to cut off Bob, so no one's going to come. And Bob sees this, and Bob's like, well, I'm going to invest in this loudspeaker. And so the customer that comes is going to ignore me. They're going to go towards this loudspeaker and go to him. Really cool. I really like this concept. And it's just one of the many ways how all of these interact with each other. Or maybe you have a little booth, and you're surrounded by all these big booths around you from all these different opponents, and they're cashing in money. So, and you're kind of left not doing anything. So you could invest in, you could become what we call the trash can mafia. It's tower defense. Oh, that's Bob. Hey, Bob. Zonga is here. Hello. You could be what we call the trash can mafia in the My Game group. And you put the trash can in your booth, and then all the other booths have to pay you money because you're taking out their trash. And it's just this, it's really nice. And the last game I played, like there were people around me just making money. So I invested in the trash can bin. They're like, oh, gee. And every round they were just giving me money. I'm just like, that's right, give me money. And it's just really, really cute and funny. Rounds 4 and 5 are more about end game points, right? So like if you have a set amount of customers, you get X amount of dollars. If you have more than 5 different types of customers, like these are like these big set collections. So that way you can gain more points at the end of the game. And you kind of want to build your strategy towards that. And this expansion makes this game amazing. It elevates it to this whole other level because it allows you to respond to what other players are doing. It gives you more flexibility to do that. And it can still be a mean game, but you can recover with the expansion. And the expansion is something that I'll never not play with. And I'll just tell people, like, this is just how you play the game. You play it with the expansion. This is what you do. And yeah, this game is how I rate games is like not like how I don't think I'm ever going to get rid of this game. So it's a 10 out of 10 for me. It's not perfect. Like every game has flaws, but yeah, and they even created like this player aid for everyone, which is really nice. I thought that was cool. Oh, and like one of the cool tiles is one of the little expansions that I always play with because you have to, because I think it's awesome, is the bathroom tile. So one of the lots you can't build restaurants on. You get this bathroom on here. And I remember arguing with Bob, telling him, I was like, why are there two bathrooms? It should just be one. Because with two, you think, and every round a customer comes out of here, just one, not two. You think two because there's two porta potties, but just one. And it's just weird how like this one customer just comes out of the bathroom every time. And then I think in the playthrough we had someone who had built a ramen shop right next to the bathroom, and then just like magic, there was a customer that came out of the bathroom who wanted ramen, just like summoning out, came out of the bathroom, oh, eating some more food, made some room, eating some more, and it was really funny. So there's this game. There's a lot to love in this game. If you like auction games, this one is fantastic. I really, really love it. Never leaving my collection. I'm super happy to have this. If you like auction games, then this is something I would definitely strongly recommend that you get. Taiwan Night Market, really good. But I mean, obviously, you get it after you get Warren Wright. Any questions on these games, just please feel free to type them in here and let me know. Ooh, more coffee. Now we're going to upgrade our coffee with tea. So if you excuse me for 1 second, I'm going to come over here. You can still hear me because the mic is attached to me. Now, for those of you who are joining the Cardboard East Cold Collection auction, I also want to mention that I will be including souvenirs for those who helped out the most. It's the least that I could do because I'm so incredibly grateful for everyone who's joined and is helping out. I really can't thank you enough. So in addition to like some of the little games that I have that I'll include, I'll include some tea. This is not the fanciest tea in Taiwan. This is the tea I drink every day. And it's really solid tea, and I love it. I love it, love it, love it. I'm afraid that I'll just Jones for it, and when I come to America, I'm probably going to bring bags of this stuff. And it comes like this, and you just drop it in, and it's just so nice, like actual tea leaves, and it tastes so good. And this is like super cheap. I think like the best bang for your buck. Like my wife and I went through all of them, and we just stuck with these. Oh, Pierre's back. Hello, Pierre. Pierre, hello. Good luck on the auction. Some great stuff on it. Thank you so much, Pierre. If you don't know who Pierre is, and you should check out his channel, he talked about really old Japanese games, like from the 60s and 70s, and he owns a shop in Japan. And like, yeah, his content's really, really fascinating. I love looking at like old school, like 60s and 70s board games, and just to see like how board games have evolved and changed over the years. I find that stuff completely fascinating. Moving on to other stuff. Let's talk about some older games that are coming back from TBD. So we're on Bob. So let's stay with Bob. Bob's here. This is Vegetable Stock. Big game that came out last year. A lot of people talked about it. Great filler game. Filler is doing it a little bit of injustice. It's a 15-minute game. This plays like 2 to 6. And I'll teach you this game in like a few seconds here. It's really, really nice. So let's say you're playing a 4-player game. And all you're going to do is you take number of players plus 1, and you take those cards. So we're playing a 4-player game. We'll take 5 cards. And the cards typically look like this, right? 2 of one of the vegetables and 1 of another. You do occasionally have one that's all 3 of the same vegetable. And you can put them all on the table. And then on your turn, you just take one of the cards and put it in your hand. That's it. Done. And then the card that's not drafted is going to affect the market. Now, what does a market look like? Well, it looks like this. Right? So maybe you didn't take carrots. Oh, then carrot's going to go up in price. Or like carrot goes up 2, broccoli goes up 1. And then if you notice here, if it gets to 5, it could jump up and crash and go back to 0. And then it could slowly work its way up. And there's a different, you could use this in your games as a dynamic market. This is a little bit more fun. And you can kind of go there. It goes up past 5. It crashes at 0. And that's it. And you do that for a few rounds, and that's it. That's the game. That's all it is. You just take like 5 cards. That's the whole game. And then the cards that you have, you are your shares in the stock, right? So maybe you have 4 broccoli. Broccoli is worth 5 points, and that's 20 points at the end of the game. That's it. Very, 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 very simple. There are some cards in the deck to give like a few twists. So, for example, some cards, if I could find it, because there's not that many of them, some cards like this Pierre, thanks for the heads up. Channel is Chef Pierre 2020, but not much board games videos lately. That's fine. But I want to shout out to your content because I think it's great. Keep making content. You have some cards that look like this. So like you have 3 carrots. So you know the carrot market is going to just there's a good amount of table talk where you try to convince people to take certain ones. Like if you don't take that, you got to do this. There's like here's the sun card where like an extra card gets drawn out. So that way 2 cards will affect the market and not just one. There's our tornado here, or typhoon, sorry. So there's a typhoon here, which means that the market won't be affected this round. So, and it's really quick. And I really like this. And kiddos can play this game, which is the best part, right? So kiddos can play this game. This is a great game. It's a great little game. I think people are going to play this, still be playing this in like 5 years, people will still be playing this game just because it's so simple, right? Maybe you're in between like big games for a game night. So you pull a vegetable stock, play a quick round, and then you're waiting for the next game. So that's vegetable stock. That'll be there at TBD's booth at Hall 4D120. But Bob is cool because Bob has another game coming out. So if you like Town Night Market, and you like vegetable stock, well, you might want to check out Christmas Tree. This is a really cute little card drafting push your luck game. And this is the unopened one. This is the English version of it for Essen. I have the Chinese version of it. Do I have it here to show it to you? Yes, yes, no, no. Yes, yes, no, no. Maybe I have it here. I don't. No, no, no. I don't know where any of my games are because I reorganized them. So I naturally have this inclination to move here. Look at this. But anyway. Yeah, Christmas Tree. Christmas Tree is a cute game. Essentially, what you're going to do is you're going to take these cards and you're going to put them out in a Christmas tree shape. So 7, 5, 3, 2, and 1. And on your turn, you're either going to play cards or draft cards. And if you want to draft a card, well, then you're going to take all of one row, right? But there's a little trick here, and that is if you take, let's say, the second row, then you have to put a card in the first row and take that. If you take like the 4th row, then you have to put a card in the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd row, and then draft all the cards in the 4th row. And that's what you do. So on your turn, you can either draft cards, and when you draft a row, then you replace it from the deck in that same order of 1, 2, 3, 5, 7. And then I want to show you the cards here because the cards are really, really cute. I definitely will keep this one. I might give this English version away, and then I'll just keep the Chinese version for myself. Yeah, I think I'll give this one away because I like the Chinese artwork a little bit more. This one, they made very snow. Hey, get little snow cards. It's really cute. Christmas tree. That's very cute. And your hand will look, let me shuffle it up here. Your hand, I believe there's no hand limit, but your hand will look something, like this eventually. Just whole married, varied thing. And then on your turn, what you can do is you can. Sorry, let me just get all these cards. So you're drafting cards. You pay cards from your hand to draft like more cards down there. So there's that drafting mechanism. And then on your later turn, you could take cards from your hand and you could play a set. So maybe you have 3 of a kind, 4 of a kind. You get it. And I believe it's written here. Let's see. Yes. You play 3, 5, 6 cards of the same type to get 1, 2, 3 points respectively. So ideally, you want to collect more and more cards. So that way you can get more and more points. But the problem is, and this is the fun little twist in the game, is that if I play a set of snowmen, and there's even Santa Claus here as a wild card. You can see cute Santa here. He's very, very cute. Tiny legs. There's the snowman. Very, 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 very cute. There's a gingerbread man here. And if you want to practice your Chinese, the art is there. If I play a set of like snowmen down from my hand and I score points, and you just use the cards as points. If I play snowmen, then everyone else, if they have snowmen in their hand, they have to discard down by half. So let's say Bob plays a set of snowmen. Well, then I take the 4 snowmen in my hand and I lose 2. So it's really fun take that in a way. Like you can see someone is collecting snowmen. Well, then I'm going to score this short thing of snowmen really quickly, so he loses half of his cards. And you hear people going, oh, slamming, lots of table slapping in this game. And that's it. And the first person, I believe, to get to like 10 points or, yeah, 7. It depends on the player count for 2, 3, 4, 5 player game, 7, 6, 4, 5 points. First person to get to X amount of points wins the game. And that's it. That's the game. And it's really fun and simple. I really, really like it. I'm not the biggest fan of small card games, like card games with small cards. But this one is really, really cute. I really like it. And the theme is, and when you have themes like this, like it's great because it opens up, but at the same time, it's kind of limiting because you probably just want to play this during Christmas time. This is a game that I think is just really, really fun. Kids can play this game and adults can play this game and have a great time. And when you see someone collecting a lot of snowmen, and if they haphazardly say like, oh, I'm getting snowmen, and then you just drop like a small set of snowmen and they lose all these snowman cards, oh, that's great. And I love that tension of like, I just got a whole bunch of cards. So now I know that other people are going to be dropping cards and I'll be losing them. It's great. You push your luck of like, do I want to push my luck to get more so I can get more points if I keep pushing, or do I just cash out now? And I really like that little twist there, because that little twist really, really changes the game. And you know what? I'm going to get rid of this. Getting rid of that plastic, and we're going to go full baggy mode. So how do you tell someone, tell if someone's a gamer without them telling you they're a gamer? They have just random plastic bags around their house. Or, maybe they have a drug habit. You never know. But I have these. These plastic bags are so cheap here in Taiwan. Like you get a bag for like 100 of them, like this size, for like $1 US. Crazy cheap. Crazy cheap. We need more games with bilingual writing like this in Japan. I agree. Yeah, Pierre. But I think more and more games are doing that. I think I think it's tricky because like the more languages are on a card, like the busier it looks. So I think I'm kind of happy with doing language independent cards and then having just like another rule book in the cards. This is what I would opt for. But yeah, I think just having games designed that where more people can play that. Yeah, and then now we just shove it back in the box. So if you like Veggie Stock, I definitely recommend that you should try out Christmas Tree because they're both fun little games. But I want to talk about a game that's not going to Essen. And things might get a little bit heated here. But I think Visual Stock is a great game. I think Christmas Tree is a really fun game. I would totally play this anytime someone asks. But I think out of these two games, I think this game, Xiaoshechang, which is known as Mini City, is better than both of these. And these are all done by Bob. This game, I think, blows these out of the water. Now, to be fair, this is heavier. Like these are like 10, 15-minute games, and this is like a 30, 40-minute game. This one's amazing, and it's not going to Essen at all. And I'll explain why in just a second. But yeah, these are all great little tiny card games, but this one blows these other two away. At the Taiwan Original Board Game Expo, which happened just this past weekend, Bob at his booth were selling these games, and this one sold out. These two didn't, or they did at the end of the last day, but this one sold out much faster. If you are familiar with Oh My Goods, this is better. I like this more than Oh My Goods. That's how strongly I feel about this game. It's not going to Essen because it does use AI generative art. Because Bob was in a rush and he wanted to do this for the 150 Expo, and he just did it to get a game to the 150 Con, and he just made a game. Because I think there are, how many cards are in here? 90 cards in here, and each card has different art. There are some duplicates, so maybe like 50 different cards of art. I've talked to Bob about this, and it is on his roadmap. He is trying to find an artist to do all that, but like 40, 50 cards is a lot of art to pay for. So he's trying to work that out the best way he can. And having an English version of this is something that would be really great. This is a great card game. And I have mixed feelings about AI generative art. I think everyone should. If you want to know how I feel, I'm just going to talk about it really quickly and get it off my chest. I don't want to start a debate, but I do want to talk about it. Um, I think that the right answer should be from everyone is that they feel conflicted, uh, as you should with every technology. I think we've gotten to this point as a society where technology is far outpacing our ability to legislate it, and we need to ask these questions so that way we can come up with ethical standards for technology. Now, there are reasons for it and against it, and I completely understand the reasons for both. As a content creator myself, I may not necessarily agree with them, but I understand why people feel that way. As a content creator, I really care like how other people use my content and how it's used. I do freelance work and gig work, and sometimes I refuse to work on certain projects for ethical reasons. So I completely understand that of how people who do art and feel that, and um, but at the same time, the one coming from a mild tech background, I could tell you that like the two things that are going to happen is one, this is never going away, and because it's never going away, it's only going to get better. And there are a lot of questions that we should ask ourselves about how we should legislate this, what's ethical, what's not ethical about it. But I think the most important question that we should ask ourselves is, one, are you going to be comfortable and okay with it? Because it's not going anywhere. Like you can kind of tell now, it's pretty obvious what games use generative AI art and which games don't. But that might change in 20 years. You may not be able to tell. And like 20 years ago, we didn't have smartphones. There was no YouTube. Like the world is completely different 20 years ago. So I think the question is, when do you become comfortable with it? Where do you draw that line? And I think we all have different answers for that. I like one thing I always tell people, like a couple of years ago, you probably don't remember this, but a couple of years ago, a new tech came out, and every painter and artist and illustrator said, well, I'm out of a job because no image that I can create, paint or illustrate or draw, is ever going to be as accurate or detailed as the image created from a camera. So when the camera came out, there were a lot of artists who complained about that. But we still go to museums today. We still pay for paintings. Good painters and good illustrators are still high in demand and make good money. So this is going to be something it's not going away, and it's only going to get better. So I think the question that we ask is like, where do we draw that line for ourselves? Where do we draw that line in the future? And that's how I feel about it. Now, regardless of how I feel about it, like Taiwan Board Game Design, it has a very strict policy of no generative art in any of their games, and I completely respect that. I totally understand why. It's a very controversial subject right now. Stronghold Games is getting a lot of slack from the Terraforming Mars. But Mini City has generative AI art, so it's not going to Essen, and it's not going to be carried by TBD. I understand why. I support that decision 100%. We need more games. It will change society for sure. Yes. But I do think Mini City, the game itself, regardless of the art, is an amazing game. It's just so good, and it's better than both of these. I think this is so good. I want to make my own video about it, and where I'll share my thoughts again, I guess, about AI and how AI art is infecting or disrupting, I should say, the board game industry. This is an amazing game. Essentially, you're just building a tableau of buildings, and you're just playing more and more buildings down, and you can put them on the left or the right, and you trigger them from left to right. You have these extra cards here. You flip them over. You trigger certain cards, and you get certain things. You get money. You use that money to build more cards, to build things. And there's so many cards in here that there's so many engines to explore. I bought Panama as like one of my 7 wonders, and Panama allowed me to take one card from any building to put it to another building, just like the Panama Papers. Really cute there, Bob. And I had a bus station that allowed me to move a card from a house to another location. So every turn I was taking cards from anywhere and a card from a house and putting them in my library. And I built houses next to my library. So the books in my library were worth like a total of 5 points. So every round I was putting 10 points down. And it took me a while to build that engine, but I was building it and I scored tons of points and I blew everyone else at the table away. So much fun. And then another game, I had a different engine as well. So there's a lot to explore here. And I think that's really fun. One of the cute things that's designed here is that if you could see here, it's really cute. 1, 3, parentheses 5. I didn't know what that meant. And I asked Bob, like, hey, Bob, what does that mean? And he says, like, oh, if you buy 1 box, he plays 1 to 3, but you can buy 2 boxes and play up to 5 players if you want to, and just mix the cards together and just go. I was like, oh, wow, that's really, really cool. And now I have 2 copies of this. The marketing trick worked, Bob. Good job. Pierre says, it's much easier to understand a small designer using it for a small print game than a large one using it for a best-selling game. Yes, I 100 agree, 1,000,000% agree with you, Pierre. So, yeah, and like Good Game Studios is just Bob and his wife. That's it. It's just they're a staff of 2. But this game is utterly amazing. I love this game. This is a 10 for me. I'm never getting rid of it. But I think Bob is a great designer. I think Bob has created a lot of games for a long time. And I think he finally started really hitting his stride very recently. And he's been creating like these bangers left and right recently. So I'm excited to see more and more of Good Game Studios games in the future. And I'm always going to be contacting Bob about what's next. Woo! All right. So to catch up, to do a quick recap here, because we like doing those. We talked about Urumba Valley from Broadway. This is a nice midweight worker placement area control game with a great table presence. Look at that board, 3D components there. Really fun game. Broadway also came out with Infiltrators, spelled with a traitor, so make sure you spell that right when you Google it. This is like a social deduction, non-talking, but not yelling, cooperative game like The Crew. So there's 20 missions there. Really smart card play. This is a lot of fun. This is like must-buy list. If I had to create a top 10 list, which I will on Friday, that's one that I would run and grab. Taiwan Night Market is one of my favorite auction games. Like, it's just so good. I love the flexibility. I love how ruthless and flexible it is. War and Right is a game I co-designed, and you should buy 1,000,000 copies of this. I think everyone on the planet should buy a copy of this. My wife will certainly thank you. And Where Am I is a nice, great, quiet social deduction game with amazing table presence. Look at that art there. Infiltrators we talked about. Bob created Christmas Tree, a nice pushy look collecting game. Stock vegetable stock, it's a great drafting stock game. Mini City, one of the best small card games that I've ever played. Amazing game. Really good. And now we're moving on. We still have a few more games here. Let's talk about Mini Park. Mini Park came out in like 2017, I think, a couple of years ago. And this is on my top 20 games of all time from Taiwan. I absolutely love this game. This is a tile laying game. I talked about this in my top 20 games from Taiwan video, so you can watch that video there. And hear me talk more about it. Like, you have like these cute, nice little thick tiles here. Surprised you didn't try to sell War and Right to me over the weekend. Yeah, it says save the poppers. I feel weird selling the game. As a reviewer, I kind of like want to try and be non-biased, but I am kind of biased. But I don't know. Like, I guess I feel a little shy. Anyway, in this game, you're not building Carcassonne. You're building a nice little park. And on your turn, you could do one of two things. You could either take a tile and build a park, and you could, extend roads. You can make the playgrounds bigger. You can make the fish pond bigger, or you could take a scoring tile. And each of the scoring tiles scores differently. So, like this person here, like, scores for big playgrounds. There's a fish who scores for like how many fish there are in the pond. There's a bird, like the bird token that you can get that determines like how many trees there are, how many trees they fly over. And then, in addition to that, when you pick up a scoring tile, you'll also pick up, unbeknownst to other players, you also pick up another one of these. And then you'll get half the points of another token. So each scoring tile comes with like this cute little meeple that you get, right? And you have like a nice little bird one. There's something that looks like a goldfish cracker. So you pick up one, you pick the half of the other. So if you pick up the cat, let's say, for example, let's see here. Yeah. You pick up the cat, but you also pick up this halfway mark there. So everyone knows you have the cat, but no one knows you have this. So it creates this nice little guessing game within the middle of the game. And like, if you don't pick these up, then you won't win the game, because these are how you get big scoring points. So you're trying to place tiles to build a park in a certain way, and eventually you'll grab one of the scoring tiles, and then you can start building the park in a way to support and give yourself points. And then everyone else is going to work against you so that way you don't get points. But they don't do it too much because of that half point mechanism. So sometimes someone might be helping you because, well, I'm going to get half of the points that you're going to make. So if you'll make 10 points, but I'll make 5 points off of you. So it's in my interest to help you out a little bit. I find that really, really cool. And there's some advanced tokens here. Pay no attention to the cubes. The cubes are added by me. And the reason why the cubes are added by me is because these are the point tokens. They're very cute, bright, and colorful, but they're not enough. So what I did is I printed out a copy of the Carcassonne board. It's like shrunk down to fit, and I could fold it here, and I put these little cubes here, and then I just keep track of points that way because it's just it's a lot easier for me. Just I hope no one bangs the table because I may choose violence at that point. This is a great tile laying game. Carcassonne was one of the games that really solidified my love for the hobby. I mean, I got into the hobby as a kid, like a long time ago, but like Carcassonne is one of those games I still play today because I love how smooth that system is. This is a great alternative to that. I love that there are these hexagons that you're playing down. I love building the park. I love the scoring mechanism. I love how Instagrammable and beautiful it looks at the end of the game, and it plays really quickly. Like it says 20 minutes here. I'd say more like 25, maybe 30 minutes. It plays 2 to 5, although I probably would never play it at 5. I think lower play accounts like 2 or 3 is probably where it's best. But yeah, let's see here. Michael Florento, late to the party. Greetings from Canada. Hi, Michael. Welcome to the live stream. Michael says, because of Cardboard East, I've now picked up Vegetable Stock, Nana, Calm Sail Away, Vikings Saw, Wonder Bowling, and Tiger Dragon. Great suggestions. All of those are amazing games. I am falling more and more in love with Tiger and Dragon every time I play that game. Played Mini Parks with Smooks once before. It's a good game for kids. It's a great game for adults. I really like this game. The scoring mechanism is great. Any plan to bring War and Right to the Japanese market? I am thinking about it. Yeah, that's definitely something that I could explore. I could definitely reach out to those publishers and ask, like, hey, do you want to pick this up? But Mini Park is a great game. I really like this. After years of having it in my shelf, it's one that I actually go back to and still play. And this is the first game I reviewed as Cardboard East, so there's a very special place in my heart for it. I need more suggestions, more videos to watch. Well, I mean, yeah, there are more games here. I reviewed some. So Mini Park is an older game from Taiwan, but still has legs and it still gets played. I really like this game. Can't recommend it enough. Moving on. Here's one from last year, and this is Pathogen. I did a video of this. I rank this as the second best game to ever come from Taiwan. Number two, mind you. I love this game. This is a 2-player abstract game, and it looks like this. There are so many little layers to this game, so many little layers to design that I absolutely love it. And the components just kind of pop off the board. This box is filled, not with the components for this game, is because this publisher, Color Deep, which is like 2 college kids. Like last year, he skipped class to go to Essen. I did an interview with him. You can check it out on the channel. Yeah, it's really cool. It's like he just skipped class to go to Essen. I think that's really cool. And I put some of his little prototypes here. What he'll do is he'll take an A4, like a letter size sheet of wood, and do like a laser cutting of it, and then make a game out of that and sell it to people. So like here's a QR code for this game here. And that comes with these components. It's a cute little 2-player abstract. Really cool. These are the components for Pathogen. I love these nice wooden components, and they're painted on there. It looks like Mystic Mischief. It does. It kind of does. Yeah. The like if you look at this, like, yeah, and you can see the paint on there, and it's like textured, and it just looks really, really nice. And when you put these components onto the white board, like they just really, really pop. They really, really pop on there. But the main component that everyone loves, and like when I post pictures of this that people just constantly talk about, is the Plague Doctor. This purple Plague Doctor meeple is just, wow, it just looks so cool. And it's double-sided. It looks nice. I absolutely love this game. I think it's really, really good. If you want to see what the original game looked like, this is the game that came out, and this is the wooden components of the prototype. Really, really cool stuff. And this is another one, other games. Like there's a QR code for the rules. And then that's another one of their abstract games. They're like they just have tons of abstract games, and I love it. But essentially, you're going to have like a 2x2. If I could do it. Yeah, you're going to have this square board here. And all of these tiles for each of the quadrants are double-sided, and there are 8 of them. And I think that means that there's like a million ways that you could have the game. And then not including like the variable setup that you have. Like there's, I don't know, well over a million openings, more than enough for your lifetime. And I'll just take this. So you imagine you have a big square. How you win the game is you either build 4 houses. You can build 1 house in each of the quadrant. If you build your 4 houses, you win the game immediately. Or there's a game called Tack. And if it has this bridging effect of Tack. So if you're able to drop your tokens on here, and if you're able to do a line orthogonally adjacent that connects to the opposite side, then you win the game. Whether it has to be opposing sides, not adjacent sides. Otherwise, you just place the corner and you're done. So if you're able to bridge the 2 sides together, then you win the game. Now, how do you bridge them? You'll have this. You'll be moving your so many layers to this game. It's so good. You'll be moving your plague doctor. So you have 2 components. So let's look at the plague here. You have the witch doctor and the demon. You have 2 humanoid tokens here. And why do you have 2? Well, the witch doctor, the human component, he only exists on the white squares. To him, these black squares don't exist. So for white to get to this white square, he has to go around this way and then move here. So it's very bizarre, right? The demon, he only exists on the black squares. For him, the white squares don't exist. So if he wants to get here, he has to, if he is, let's see here, if he is here and he wants to get to this square, well, then he has to move up, move here, then down, and then come here. Like there's this weird blocking that the board does. And then as you walk, you can drop off these tokens. So the path at which you walk, you could drop off these tokens. And the path where you walk, you could pick up your opponent's tokens. So there's that back and forth there. And if you ever drop like 6 of your same color tokens on one square, and it becomes a house. That's it. That's pretty much the game. But what makes the game even more, gives you even more layers is this. This should be, let's see here. It should look like this. But I picked up this extra copy here. Like a lot of publishers in Taiwan do this. Well, they take a coaster from a game and then turn it to a board game component. Pretty neat. But this also has a little bit of texture here, so it's not as hua as the English. It's not as slippery. That's the word. So what's really interesting about this game, and I've never seen this before in any other game, and I absolutely love it. It's my favorite mechanic in this game. If I were Jamie Stagmeyer and I'm going to tell you my favorite mechanic from this game, it would be this. This is amazing. So this is actually the whole game. You have this little token here, right? And you'll have 2 of, like one of your components and then one of, let's see here. So you'll have like this tile here. And let's see if you can see it on the map here. So just like that. Now on my turn, let's say if I were red and I would place this token here, and then I'd move this like up 1 and then over 3. Or maybe I put it here and then I do up 1, left, and then up. So whatever movement that I make, be it like here or be it like this, I mirror that movement on the board with either the human or the demon piece. So it creates this extra layer of the gameplay where the squares on the board block your movement and obstruct your movement. This also obstructs your movement because you're limited to how this moves. And it creates an interesting depth to the game. Like it makes you really, really think about what you're doing. In addition to this, another layer on this game is the fact that plague begins with tokens on the board. And when they move, they can only drop and pick up 4. The Plague Doctor, the blue team, they don't have any table presence on the board. They don't have any of these square wooden tokens on the board yet. And when they move, they could drop or pick up 5. So what happens is red becomes really strong at the beginning of the game. They're making these big turns, dropping tokens left and right, and it's really terrifying. And blue has to spend the whole game cleaning and slowly dropping enough breadcrumbs so that way he's stronger in the future. But as this is strong in the beginning and he's weak in the beginning, that begins to change as you get to the late game. And this can still win at the late game, but I like that shift in power, and you could definitely feel it. Definitely like maybe your second or third time, you get more attuned to it. But I love that layer of gameplay there. And the fact that this game does all of that with just as few components as it has. I mean, there are more components in this box than I have because there are 4 games in this box. Like the game, its prototype, and 2 more games. But yeah, this is a game that I play all the time. A friend of mine, he plays TAC. TAC is one of his favorite abstract games because it comes from a book. It's like there's a book, and in the book there's a game that people in that fantasy world play, and that game is TAC. And then someone created the game from that book. But let's see here. This game is amazing. I absolutely love it. I think it's fantastic. Why it's not being licensed by millions of publishers around the world is beyond me. This is this is something that I strongly recommend. If you like 2-player abstracts, I cannot recommend Pathogen enough. Really good and plays pretty quickly. Like it plays in 30 minutes. If you don't know what you're doing, it might be like 5-10 minutes. You lose pretty quickly if you don't know what you're doing. But as you get better at this game and your opponent gets better at the game, then this games can be like 30 minutes long, and it's an intense 30 minutes. You're actively looking and studying the board the whole time. The Plague Doctor, not the Plague Doctor, the red team, the Plague, there's a variant opening where they can begin with 2, 3, or 4. I think the publisher initially had it at 4. And I created a variant rule saying the 4 should not be in a straight line because that's unfair. So they need to be in different rows and columns and in different quadrants of the board. And then 4 is a little bit too strong. And then you can kind of that Go system of 4 is for both advanced players. 3 is kind of balanced. 2 if you're brand new to the game. And so there's that variety of opening there. And then he liked that idea so much he just put it in this printing of it. So but that excluded this is just a great game. I really, really love this game. Number 2, out of I don't know, the 50 or so games I played from Taiwan, this is number 2 out of all of them. Second best game I think to ever come out of Taiwan. Pathogen. Definitely give it a try. Moving on. I need some more tea. We should have a special guest joining us today. So let's move on forward. Now, let's move on to the next abstract. This I think is going to be called the Whiskey Black Panther game at Essen, because that's what I would call it. Because 1, it comes in a whiskey bottle container, and 2, it kind of looks like Black Panther. I mean, kind of, very much so. This is Matata Hai. This is Matata Hai is one of the indigenous tribes here in Taiwan. Not one of the big ones though. There are only there were 16, and I think recently the Taiwanese government included 3 more, so a total of 19. There are many, many more tribes, but there are only 19 officially recognized by the Taiwanese government. But he has in his blood, his his ancestors are from this indigenous tribe, and he made this game. This is a beautiful, beautiful abstract game. And it's abstract, but it feels more like an area control tile placement game. And I love the fact it comes in a tube. Like, how cool is that? Or a whiskey bottle glass. So you have these rules. It is a little bit unfortunate that the rules come warped like that because, well, I mean, it's in a tube, right? What do you want? But here's the mat, the play mat, right? Look at that. Look how beautiful that is. I have not played my copy of it, but I played it at the convention last weekend. And look, it doesn't come with a rubber band. It comes with a paper bow. Look how nice that is. I like that extra inch, not the extra mile, but the extra inches that publishers do here in Asia. I love this. I'm just slowly do this because I want to keep it. And then boom, there it is. Yeah. There's the player, there's the mat, the play mat. Very beautiful. And then there are the components here. I'm going to, let's see here, slide back here. And so you can see it here. I'll drop this out here. Yeah. I think I'm just going to get rid of this plastic bag and put it in here. In fact, I could probably do that with all of these components. Sugar. Let's see here. So I don't know how to explain this game because this game is a little bit more intense than Pathogen. I've taught Pathogen plenty of times that I could do this. So one team are the Reds and one team are the Blues. And these tiles are cardboard, but it's an interesting style of cardboard. I don't know how else to explain it. Like they're very thick. Let me show you what they look like here. They're very thick in this black cardboard here. And they kind of look almost like leather. Like it has like that texture of leather there. I'm going to turn it here so you can see it gloss. Because of the way these tiles are printed, you do need to be careful with the room that you play in. Like the lighting could affect the gameplay just because this can be clear if it's not properly lit. The reason why is because you have these little corners here. So if you can see here that there are these little daggers here on these little things in the corner. And on your turn, you're going to be taking a tile. These, and here are the blues here. So they look different. You can see them here. Right. If you look at their Black Panther necklace here, that's 2. So he has a strength of 2. If you look on top of their head, you'll see squares there, and he's worth 2 points at the end of the game. So here's one here. So you can see strength of 3, 1 point at the end of the game. And I'm going to set it up here. So during the game, like these will be, you'll have a market of 3. Just like this. If you could see that there, I think you can. And then on your turn, you're going to take your token, whether you're blue or you're red. And this wooden token is nice. If it's nice painted, you can see the paint is slightly raised. So it's some nice texture there. And you're going to place this here. You're going to choose one pair of tiles that are out. This one, or this one. You're going to compare the strengths of these. And then whoever's weaker, meaning that they have fewer things on their necklace. So let's look at these two so you can understand. So you can see Black Panther has 3, and then I guess the other one has 2. So if you're the weaker piece, then you could choose who places first. But typically you want to place first. So blue will take his piece and then put it somewhere on the board. Man, the board. Like the board has like these little cones on the board to make it look even nicer. And you have like these cubes on the board as well. And it just makes it shine and pop. I can't really express that enough. Like you have like these little cubes here and everything just looks really, really nice on here. And these purple cubes are for strength, and these white cubes are for unlocking the temples, which are really, really nice. And you're going to place these down on the mat here, and you'll take turns placing them down. And like those arrows that you see on the corner of them, right there, that means if I play a tile like later on, like let's say I place a tile here, then he will give purple cubes to him to make him stronger. And eventually you'll place them together, and then these two will battle to see, and if this one dies, it flips. And that means at the end of the game, you won't score points for this. He's just 1 point. Right? And every time you kill someone, this round counter or this death counter is going to move down. So once 6 pieces are died, then the game ends. So, and it's this nice glass figure here. Let me see if I can put it here. Yeah, it's this really nice glass counter here. So it feels, yeah, it's just really, really nice. It's a nice touch, this. You also have like these little temples here. And to put these temples down, think about that each temple is on this mat here. And you can imagine that there are 4 squares here. Even the one on the edge, there's 4 spaces here. And for each tile that's placed, whether it's yours or not, it decreases the cost. So this one right here, let's say here, you can see here, there are 4 spaces here are all empty. So that means it's going to cost 4. What does 4 mean? Well, it's going to cost 4 cubes. And not only that, but at least one of the cubes has to be clear, right? So you need to spend 4 cubes, and at least one of them has to be clear. And once you do that, you place it on to here, and then you get one of these temples. Now, that temple is worth points at the game. So if you can see here, there are different scoring systems for the beginner and advanced version. So the first person to get the first temple is 1. The last temple is worth 5. And those are there to help you out. So there are ways that you can go heavy on the temples and score points. You can go heavy into battling and score points by having more of your warriors alive than your opponents. That's another way to gain points. There are also these little cubes on the board. So that way, when you place tiles there, you can gain them. If you place a tile on the edge, for each of these little locations here, you'll get a purple cube that goes on there. There's variable setups that they talk about in the rulebook for you to set up differently. And this game, just like Pathogen, is really intense. It's going to take your entire concentration for the entirety of the game. You're thinking about each one that comes out, each tile that comes out, how you're going to play it, and what you're going to do with it. Any more units? Looks like Mystic Mischiefs looks interesting. Gonna check that one out. Okay. Yes. This I posted earlier is like, this is a fantastic game. Like what I really liked about this is that I felt that I never had any downtime in this game. Every time I played this game, I felt like I am fully involved and invested in the gameplay. I am looking at what my opponent is doing. I'm thinking about what I can do. I'm looking at what's available to plan out my next move. I'm watching how the board evolves over time. So I never felt bored when I played this game. I never felt the need to take out my phone to look up stuff because there never any downtime. I felt fully engaged the whole time. And you don't get that a lot with some games. And this one works really, really well in that regard. The only time I did take out my phone was to take pictures, because you have to take pictures of this game, because as it fills up, it just looks so beautiful. And you can look at in the description below, I put a link to the publisher's Facebook page, and you can see that. You can go to my Instagram and see pictures there. I do want to mention that in the description, I put a link to the publishers. I put a link to the pre-order page if some of the publishers have pre-order pages. So I removed a lot of the friction for you. I put links to my socials so you could see some pictures of these games there. Pierre asks, I have another game from Taiwan using a roll box. Do you know Ninja Scroll? Yes, I do know Ninja Scroll. That came out a few years ago. Original box like this is really nice, but so difficult to display in your cafe. I do understand that. This one is fits in a Kalex, right? And it's nice. I think some people don't like odd-shaped boxes like this. I do. I mean, I mean, look, if you look at some of my previous videos where I had more of the Asian games here, it just looked like this massive clutter, and I loved it. I love that. This I think is so cool, and like this doesn't have to go on the shelf. Like this can go somewhere else. Like this can go like on your bookshelf. Like I love how this looks, and it looks really classy. This can go on your liquor shelf if you want to. Um, yeah, and I love that there's. I just love the container. I think it has a nice little presence to it. This game is really good. I recommend that you play this. I think they'll have this for demo. I'm pretty confident they'll have this for demo at Essen. I definitely think you should set aside like 30 minutes, sit down with someone and just play, because you will be really involved in the gameplay and wondering how to do it. I will say that this part of the game here, like the corners and how the powering worked, is a little tricky the first time you play. I had a little bit of a rough time doing that. So I do have to mention that. But the second time I played, I didn't have a problem with that. It just took me a while to understand. You have to understand too. I do have to mention this. Like when I learned these games, a lot of the times they're teaching me in Chinese and how you say things. Chinese is a language that has, I think, maybe 5, 10 prepositions, not many prepositions. English is far more thorough of a language. Like it's far more precise, and there's a little fuzziness with Chinese, and there's just a language that's just built that way. There's nothing wrong with it. I think Chinese is a beautiful language. And sometimes publishers teach me these games in English, and the English sometimes isn't perfect. So if you get a preposition wrong, in a house, on a house, at a house, up a house, like those are very different meanings. So sometimes there's a little bit of difficulty there. So I wasn't fully understanding like the corners rules, but the second time I played, like, yeah, totally got it. Everything made sense. I was really happy with it. I think I'm just gonna say meh and just dump it all into one box, one bag, and dump it there, tie it up. And I love this, right? So I'm gonna take this rule book, toss it in, and I got to roll this up. I'll be nice and gentle with it. Yeah, this map is it's a thing of beauty. Do I want to keep this string? I think so. You're going to watch me tie a string today. This is the content I'm making today. I'm tying a little string. Tammy, Matata High is available for pre-order, as is Passion, Nightmare, Christmas Tree, Veggie Stock, and War Right. Yes, it is. I put a link down below directly to the pre-order page to help all of you out. Yeah, I know the feeling. Going Tokyo Game Market, understanding more specific rules can be a challenge. Yeah, it can be brutal, right? And it's so funny with Tokyo Game Market because I meet these publishers face to face. I've had long conversations with them through text messages, but then when we meet, we're just very polite. You shake hands, take some selfies, because their English is non-existent and my Japanese is really non-existent. So here we go. We're gonna dump in there. Uh-oh. No. Is that? Oh. No. Oh. Well, that's a no-no, isn't it? We just discovered something. We discovered that this is not a perfect square and that I have to roll it a certain way. Yeah, I see that now. So that's unfortunate. But now that I know that, I will remember that. So yeah, learning games in Asia is that language barrier is challenging, but I find that kind of fun too. I taught English here for over a decade, so I'm very used to translating stuff, and I understand the mistakes that people make. And I speak Chinese, so I definitely understand the mistakes that they make. It's funny that like in America, there's big debates about pronouns, and people feel one way around them, others feel another. But in Chinese, he, she, it, and there's two its. There's its for animals, like living things, and it's for like things without life, like a phone. There's 4 its, or he, she, it, and it. In Chinese, they're all pronounced the same. Ta, 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 ta. If you want to do they, it's tamen, 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 tamen. Exact same. No big deal. I mean, if you want to write it down, there's a difference. And in actuality, I remember learning that in ancient Chinese, they were actually written the same, but it was only later that they wanted to distinguish male and female. So it's so in China they don't have that problem, and like Taiwan they don't have that problem with the pronouns, or at least the Chinese pronouns. Drop that in. Drop that in. Bob's your uncle. Sweet. Matata High is solid. This is a solid game. I really like this a lot. I definitely want to play this more. I've only played this 3 times, and I definitely want to play this again. I really like 2-player games. Sometimes with Euro games, I understand that there's that need to play them at 2. But sometimes when it's 2 players, I kind of just want to play a game that's designed specifically for 2, because why not? And games that are specifically designed for 2 often feel a lot tighter. And yeah, I really like that. So there's Matata High, a good game from Taiwan Board Game Design. But there are more great games from Taiwan, from TBD, and we're going to get to that after I hydrate. Tamiel, if you picked up only one, which do you pick? One from TBD or one from all of Asia? Like that's really hard. I don't know. If I had to pick one game from TBD, I mean, I really like Matata High. I think Pathogen is a better game. Let me bring them out here. I think Pathogen is a better game, but I will say that Matata High is a lot sexier on the table. Like it's really eye-catching. The tiles are reflexive. The plastic cubes are light reflexive, and having those on like the neoprene mat with the nice wooden temple cones, the wooden cones that are polished, and you get that nice afternoon sunlight hitting it at that right angle. Oh man, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. I can't express that enough. Patrick here. Hey, Patty. What's going on, buddy? The 2-player ones. Ooh. If I had to choose between these 2 games, yeah, I don't know. I think Pathogen is the better game. This looks a lot better, though. I think if you are looking into more abstract games, this is for you. This looks like an abstract game, but it's really like a area control abstract looking war game in a way, because war games are typically like area control games. So that's what I would fall under. Patty, I just get both, man. Just get both. If you had to get one, you should get Warren right. But I would say that this is the that's a tough call. I think, I honestly don't know. I think this is the better game, to be fair. I think this is the better game. This is the better looking game. If you find yourself are more interested in war games, like you like the area control and area majority, like you really like that forced interaction, like that's what this is. If you like chess and Go, if you like that kind of abstract, I would probably lean to this, and that's how I would fall on it. But I mean, get both, man. Get both. Do yourself a favor. You'll love it. This just looks so cool. Pathogen is more portable, to be fair. Well, I mean, I don't know. Like, this is pretty portable. It's just like a neoprene mat and like a bag. So I think they're both kind of portable. Like, you really don't need this case, and you don't need Pathogen's case. You could compact it much smaller. All right. We love Pathogen too. Yeah, it's just so good. It's so good. All right. Next, I'm going to talk about this game. This is from 2Plus. They're the publisher who picked up my game, War and Right. So I'm going to tell you that they're an amazing publisher and the best publisher on the planet. I'm going to have some tea. Storyteller is not a game. It's more like an experience. I mean, it's a game, but it's a cooperative experience, I want to say, because you're telling a story. I think if you are with the right people, this can be a lot of fun. If you are a writer and you like writing stories, or if you're like a if you're into like writing wacky TV shows, if you binge watch a lot of TV, this is something that you can totally get into. And oh, there you go. This also has a great insert, and essentially you're just telling a story. Here are the rule books. Here we go. Oh yeah, I didn't do this all the way here. I should have done that more carefully, but that's because, man, these tokens, like if you don't store this the right way, it just becomes chaos inside. But it has the sleeve, so it should be fine. But yeah, so here's the insert. I should show this to you. So here was a bag of little tokens here, right? Here are the cards. I have them in plastic bags. And then here are these little tokens here. And then you have these. There are little spots here underneath the tokens. And you're supposed to put these voting tokens underneath here, like this. So that way, when you play, I'll play green. And then I just take these out. And then, you're good to go. Pierre has to open up the cafe. Good luck with the video rush you are doing. And for the auction, thanks for all the light you put on Asian games. Bye. Pierre, you too, man. Enjoy the cafe. Thanks for having the cafe and making the world a better place. I think the world needs more cafes with cool board games. Keep it real, Pierre. Look at the components for this. So, like, this insert is nice. It's really, really nice. And you have this. This is really nice, too. I really like this. I just really, really like it. So let's look first at components. These are plastic, and they are very, very cute. I like them. Like these little circular heads, these nice 3D meeple shapes. I think that's rad. These little voting tokens that you can get, if you can see here. Good. Double-sided, these little ink stamp things here. They're supposed to fill up the slots here like this, but I move games around a lot. This has the best component name of a component out of all the games going to Essen. Out of all the games here, this has the best name of a component ever, because this is a storyteller, and this game is all about storytelling and narrative driven. They have this. This is the MacGuffin token. And I love the fact that they call it the MacGuffin token. And it's the first player because he has the MacGuffin, which is great. I believe the term MacGuffin came from Hitchcock. And he said that you need a MacGuffin in the story. And MacGuffin is just some random thing that gives people something to drive. So there's Mission Impossible is a great story of MacGuffin. Like you got to get like that Nautilus to get it. Like that's what they're chasing, right? That's the MacGuffin. Ultimately, like whatever it is, it really doesn't matter. It's just that's what everyone's chasing. The card art is pretty cute too. Let's take a look at the card art here. I have not played this copy here, but I brought it here. Like you have a magic carpet, you have a ring. These are like little items that you can get, and they all kind of space range different things. Blood splat. You have scene cards going to different scenes. Right? So you get to have different locations, like that's a town, like different places here, right? That's a laboratory. You have, you even have like prison. It's one nice looking, really good focus. Yep, old house. And essentially what this game is, it's all about telling a story, and you're telling a story together. There are different kinds of cards here, like status cards here. You have scenes, you have item cards, you have character cards here. Let me see here. Yeah. You have like item cards, you have action cards, you have status cards, so you have stuff like memory loss. The art is really cute here. Memory loss, you have like you keep someone sick, some psychosis. Like it's really cute artwork here. This is a great family game for kids. You have all these different cards, like character cards here, like farmer. You have some action cards as well to give actions, like to commit. And what you're going to do in this game is I mean, this is more of a game that's an exercise in storytelling. You have these little cards here. So you have stuff like, oh man, I wish I put them in the right order. Let me see if I can get them in the right order here because I'm always getting it wrong. That's the one complaint that I have is that I wish that these were numbered so I can know the order of it. They have it in the rule book and it's fine, and you only have to do it and you set it up for the rule book. But I wish they had everything numbered for it. So essentially, what you're going to do is like you have. Let's see here. You have things listed up here. So you'll have you'll put these in order of the term. Let's see if I could have it here in this order. Yeah. So let me find it. Give me 1 second here. So ending, turning point, defeated, breakthrough, obstacle, purpose. Yes. And then this one is for a variant play. So you're going to start with this one, purpose. And then players are going to play cards. And so you might have something like old man, prison, magic carpet, whatever. And as soon as people play the cards, and then you flip it over, and then you have to agree upon a story and create that there. So there's purpose, like the goal, and this is Chinese, 目标, and then like you'll compete that thing. So now there's an obstacle, and you're going to play cards, and you have 6 cards in your hand, and everyone has like 6 cards in their hand, and this whole story of like 2, 4, 6, 12 is 12 cards. So you're going to be using cards throughout the whole thing and reusing some cards, and you kind of have to make sense of it. And things could be one genre and all of a sudden a UFO appears, or things could be another genre and then all of a sudden like there's a monster and a commit card, and you're like, do I commit to the monster? What's going on? And it creates these fun, hilarious moments. So you have let's see here. You have what did I say here? Yes. Where'd that go? Did it disappear? I have game components are disappearing left and right. Then you have an obstacle, right? So something happens. There's something that you have to overcome and defeat. And then you have like there's a purpose. There's an obstacle. And then now there's a breakthrough that you do. So now something twists and happens. Like maybe you found the keys to get out of the escape room. And then you're defeated. Like, like you're up high, you're winning, and then you lose a match because you're a famous boxer. And then what do you do there? And then now there's a turning point, and you play cards there, and you find the right turning point. And now the story's turning around, and finally you have the ending. And like that's the whole game. It's just telling a story through the cards that you have in your hand, and everyone's voting on it, and you're trying to make sense of all the cards that you have. And that's it. That's the game. And I'm hesitant to say it's a game because you're not really competing for points. It's about the experience. And I think just like Dixit, this strays away from Dixit and just goes hard into the narrative of like, can you tell an interesting story? So I think that like if you want to train someone on how to be a good GM, like for a good tabletop game, if you want to know what makes a good story, this is a really good game that kind of structures around that. This helps you really get a good sense of what's the common basic story arc is. Like, okay, there's a hero. He has a problem. He has to solve the problem. He's doing really well with it. And then all of a sudden there's a setback. And then something happens that he turns it around. And then there's your conclusion. And that's really the exercise. And like with the right group of people, it could be hilarious good times. You could be laughing hysterically with it. Like at one time we played it and we were dinosaur writers. And that's someone made that offer and then we stuck with it. And then that's what we were for the rest of the game. Hunting, we're dinosaur hunters, and like we're Turok the dinosaur hunter, and like you're hunting for Yoshi, and like you get like these fun stories. And one of these things that I get is like I've been, people always ask me like, what do you think makes a good game? And you get lots of varied answers there. And I finally came on my answer of what makes a good game. And I think it's experiences. Can the game create a good experience for you? And that's because like during the culling, when I was culling my collection, someone mentioned that board games are boxes of memories. And that just really, really resonated with me. Because when you look at a game on yourself, you think about all the times you play that game. You think about all those hilarious moments, all those good times that you had that game. and maybe that makes you play that game again. Like when I think of Dune, I don't think of the mechanics. I think of the times that I played Dune and the high highs of that game. Like I think of like those big aha moments for people screaming and shouting. When I think of Jaws of the Lion, I think of that time where I won by like 1 point of damage. We beat this mission. I stood up out of my chair and I was walking around going, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe I did it." I think of those moments, and this is a game that creates those. And I think that that's what makes a good game, right? Because when you sell games to people, I don't think that you're selling it for the mechanics are really solid and really good. You're thinking about, man, I had this moment, I had this resources, and I did this. It was amazing. I had that high rush, and you want to share these experiences with people. And because we all have great gaming stories, and I love hearing it from other people, especially games that I've played, and I can understand that from that concept. But like, yeah, those moments are great, and I think that's what makes a great game. That's what makes a great game. Can your game create those moments? Can it capture those moments? And does your game allow for moments like that? That's why I'm a big believer in games can be too balanced, and like you need a little bit of imbalance there, so that way you can capture that lightning and capture those exciting moments. And that's what makes gaming so much fun. And that is Storytellers. And I'm going to slide this in here. And so, yeah, this is going to be a game that's going to be really interesting for you. And it plays well with the right crowd. With the right crowd, you're going to leave with a lot of laughs, a lot of bellyaches, and this is a good drinking game, because not every game here is good for drinking. Like I really love Matatahai, and it looks like a whiskey container, but I'm not going to be drinking when I play this game because I'm not going to be enjoying it, and I won't be able to think straight. Moving on. We have one more game from Taiwan Board Game Design. And then we still have more games to talk about. Whew. Excuse me. All right. Lucky First Incense. Now, this is one of those games where everyone plays a card face down. You all reveal it, and then chaos happens, and you see what happens. And this is one of these. This was at the Taiwan Original Board Game Expo and had its own booth from the publisher. And this booth was constantly busy. All the tables were always full. People were playing all the time. And I think it's because it deals with something that's very uniquely Taiwanese. So your mileage may vary when you approach this game, but like it goes, the theme revolves around Taiwanese culture. But it's pretty relatable, and it's just so fun. It's called Lucky First Incense because when you go to temples, and I realize that when I say this, it's not the same thing. Religion here is very different. It's don't think of churches. It's like you're in North America. Don't think of, when I say temples, don't think of churches. Definitely don't think of giant Buddhist temples in the middle of the mountain. There are plenty of those, and man, they are huge. Just one down the street from me that's just utterly massive. It's like it's funny because it's right next to an office building, and it's bigger than the office building. It's huge. Temples can be like a room. Like there are tiny, like little two. There's one like right across the street from me. It's in the middle of a park, and it's like this nice little tiny building in the middle of nowhere. So you have like this little park, massive stadium, this huge apartment complex, and then this little building which is a temple. And at these temples are these little cauldrons here. And this is something that comes with the game. This is like a nice little 3D component that comes with the game. I'll explain how this works. There are these little cauldrons here, and you have these little sticks of incense. And if you're the first person to stick it in there, then you're lucky, and you get luck. And like Asian culture, like Chinese culture and Taiwanese culture are all about luck, because life is hard. You need all the luck you can get, any luck that you can have on your side. And so this game is about getting the first incense, being the first person to stick your incense stick in there to be lucky. Now, how you do that is the game. Now, I haven't constructed all of these yet, but you can. And the game comes with them, and it comes with these little components here. Let's see here. Yes, here we go. I have not fully punched out my copy of this game, but I have played this a good number of times. I even played the prototype of this back in the day because I go to the playtest session here. So here's the cauldron, this nice 3D component, and then you put the incense in there. Really cool. And this is a component that comes in the game. Really, really nice. They didn't have to make it like 3D like that, but I'm really happy that they did. I think that's really, really cool. So what you're going to do is you have these little temple cards. And for each round, there'll be a different number of temples for different player counts. There's a different number of temples. And it's going to look like this. Now, this is so funny to me because I've lived in Taiwan and I know what this is. So Taiwan temples, they can be extravagant, but they have lots of like cheap plastic chairs like this. You've seen little plastic things like this, I'm sure, at Walmart or everyone. There. See, the popper says bye-bye, bye-bye. And then you can see that, and people can sit down there, right? You can sit down there and wait in line for that. They have lots of lanterns at temples there, and they have red sides and yellow sides here. This means you place the card face up. This means you place the card face down. And then on your turn, you have a deck of cards. And let's say you're the red family. And then you'll have like 2 cards. And then you're going to choose one of the 2 to play. And you can play this on any of the various temples here. So everyone's going to play a card. Just take turns playing cards. And that's what you do. And everyone has the same deck of cards. But you're going to get your cards in a different order. And they all do something differently. The biggest charm of this game is that the artwork, I actually really like the artwork. I think it's really hilarious because it makes fun of stereotypes. Like this is mom, and you can see it here, like mama, or yeah, it even says it in English. This is the Taiwanese mom, tiger mom, hellbent on wheels. This is grandma. She's doing like Tai Chi in the park. I think that's hilarious. You have dad who's drinking beer. I love it. You have Jie, older sister, big sister, who is obsessed with social media. You have older brother who's obsessed with video games. You have your little cousin or who's into baseball and not very good. You have the little sister who's just very cute, has a bear. You have your dog because your dog, this dog is just so dope. Look at him. He's like the coolest dog, I think, in board gaming. And if you have a dog, you have a cat. And that's a cat with stuff on his head. Really adorable stuff. And then you have probably the most hilarious card is your ancestor. Just like this dude with a hat and goes. Now, if you look on the bottom of this card, you'll see its unique special ability, and there's this iconography that reminds you of how to play. In fact, all the cards have different effects, and they all do. And they all do different things. Mom doesn't do anything because she's a 7. She's really powerful. Grandma doesn't do anything. Dad, he doesn't do anything because he's there, and but the sister has an ability. So you'll take these turns playing these cards, playing effects, and sometimes the effect will affect the card that's adjacent to you. Like that might affect the card that's next to you. It might affect the card that's elsewhere in the temple. And then there'll be like this tier system here. If you just look closely at the very top of this card, you'll see a little bracket there. So sometimes in these cards, you'll have stuff like that where you have brackets. So these 2 will compete, and then one card will be here. These 2 cards will compete, and one card will appear here, and then these 2 cards will compete. And what are they competing for? Well, they're competing for, as I said before, the incense. And even the incense cauldrons, they're here, and the art is very cool. The art, each one of them has different abilities, and they each do something different. And you could see that there. Like they each can do something unique and different with the design, right? And I love how bright and colorful they are. All the cauldrons look nice and neat. They have like these 3D components here. So it makes it a little bit more fun. And you have this little thing here, this incense that plugs in. And so you have a cute little 3D moment for the game. I think that's a nice little touch that they didn't have to do, but I'm really, really happy that they did it. And that's the game. It's pretty straightforward. You have different scoring for and different locations for each round, and this kind of tells you how to set it up. You have these player aids here, and both in Chinese and in English here. Oh, sorry. Let me flip that around there for you. And it's cute. This is a good introductory game, like a good gateway game. And the reason why is because there's a lot of fast feedback in this game. It's not take that. Like none of these abilities are very take that-ish. But getting the right card at the right time or saving that right card for the right time is all part of the game. And like because you don't have your whole hand available to you, you only have like 2 cards. That allows you a little bit more focus. So it's a lot more approachable. And this is a game I think is going to sell well. Now, your mileage may vary with how well you relate to this theme. Taiwanese people loved it, man. This booth was busy the whole time. And it's a fun game. It's definitely fun. It's not my favorite out of the games here because I just really, really love 2-player abstract. So I lean towards that way. Thanks, Jay. Very nice survey for the Asian board games. Cheers. Oh, sure way. Hey, what's up? And that is Lucky Incense. And this game is actually really, really simple to play. It's not too difficult. These are the Chinese rules. I don't have the English rules in this game, but that's totally fine. Put these cards away. But I love the artwork on these. I think the caricature art is so funny to me because I have seen that mom. I have seen that grandma. I have seen that dad. I haven't seen that ghost, but I've seen like the older sister. I've seen the younger brother. I've seen the older brother. Like it's just I've seen that, and it's just so funny to me. Like it plays on those stereotypes. But this is a good game. It's a good game, and it's a good first design. I'm a first-time designer. And there's even like an instruction sheet to show you how to build the 3D cauldrons there. You know, and I think that if you stick around here, I think after the live stream, I think I'm supposed to go to the manufacturer, so I'll do that. But then I think I'll stop by the temple that's near my house and just do a short there and show you there. So stick around on the YouTube and you can see it there. And that is Lucky First Incense. So we are 3 more games to do. And so we're going to go overboard this thing, but I think that's fine. So let's do a quick overview to catch up everyone here. And so you can remember. So we did Hong Kong first. We did Orumba Valley, which is a nice mid-weight worker placement game with some area control. The big USP, unique selling point, is these 3D central board for some nice table presence and pop there. It's really fun, pretty interactive there. The big highlight, though, from Broadway is Infiltrators. I think this game is amazing. Definitely a big grab. It's like a noir version of The Crew, but without trick-taking and just clever card play and deduction. Excellent, excellent, excellent game. Every person I showed this to, they were really surprised. Like, wow, that was really good. A lot better than I thought it was. I'm like, yeah, dude, of course. That is Hong Kong. Japan has Where Am I?, which is a great little deduction game without much yelling. And it comes with 3D components. That's the game board that you see there. Like nice porcelain little cups and tea sets. Amazing, amazing table presence. Then we move to TBD, and TBD has Taiwan Night Market is kind of the big thing. This is one of my favorite auction games of all time. Mean, but very flexible. I love it a lot. Very cute artwork in that game, too. This is my game that I co-designed. This is the best game in Essen of all this year, so go buy 1 million copies of this. Please, pretty please. You have Storytellers. This is about storytelling game, a very narrative-driven game. You have the right group. It's going to be awesome. Mini Park is one of my favorite tile laying games of all time. Pathogen is an amazing 2-player game. I rated this as the second best game to come out of Taiwan. Lucky Incense is a great introductory game. It's a great draw card, player card game. I love that simple mechanic and how people explore it. It really celebrates Taiwanese culture and has this hilarious artwork there. Bob's 3 card games we talked about. Vegetable Stock, which is a great drafting stock game. You have Christmas Tree, which is a push your luck set collection game. And Mini City, which isn't going to be at Essen, but is an amazing mini card game that I think is better than Oh My Goods. Oh My Goods is gone out of my collection. Mini City is here forever. Now we are going to talk. Oh, and there's Matata High, which is an amazing, very in-your-face abstract 2-player game. And then now we're going to talk about these 3 games here. And I say these for last because, man, these are some really good games. I was really blown away by these. And I need some more tea. This is a game from Shanghai. This is Paijian Xiaozhen, or otherwise known as Townsfolk Wanted, was the original English name. I think they changed the name to, what was it? They changed it to Explorers of Novoria, which is, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of that Switch name. I think Townsfolk Wanted sounded a lot cooler, just for me. This is by Qingling, which is from a publisher from Shanghai. They are going to be at 3Q124. 3Q124. If you look at this, I don't know if you're still here in the live stream, Brooke, because I know you, Brooke is with later games, but this looks like the artwork from Root. And it's beautiful to look at. And that's the game. Really gorgeous there. This does something really interesting with worker placement. So you're going to be drawing tokens from this bag. And these wooden components are nice. I mean, these are nice, thick, chunky components. I mean, just look at that. Look how nice that looks. It looks so nice. And they're thick. You're going to set up the game, and you're going to have a series of cards here on the side. And all the cards are different colors. You have the blue cards, you have the purple cards, yellow cards, and each one's do something different. And you're going to take the workers and put them on the cards. And then in reverse turn order, you're going to be drafting the cards. And you can draft any card that you want. Because the colored tokens are not player related, they're card related. They're like what kind of cards that you can get. And then after that, you're going to be drafting the cards in reverse turn order, and then the tokens themselves are going to be placed back on the board, and that's how you get your resources. And I think that twist in worker placement is really interesting. So you go into an order to draft the cards, and then in reverse turn order to get the resources. And that little twist is really interesting. But the artwork for this game is brilliant. Like, I love how bright and colorful and shiny it is. Really nice stuff. The board itself is just beautifully done right here, right? And on this map, you can see, and even like the player tokens, maybe look at that. Like, this looks it's very much, you can see it's heavily influenced by Root. You have these awards for the milestones, your player pieces here, yeah, even with the cute eyes style. Like, it's very reminiscent of Root. But here's the board. Look at this board. This is a gateway game. Like, it's not too complicated. It's very light. But this might be my new gateway game of choice. Look how beautiful this map is. It's really something special. Is it upside down? No, it's not. Okay. This is the center town. Like, this is where you get the resources. So you have blue tokens here for the cards, as you can see here. And then maybe after you get it, you can go here and place it here. And so the later you place it down, you could see, so if there are 3 blue tokens that come out, then all 3 blue tokens are going to be placed. And you can see that they get stronger and stronger. So the later you grab it, the earlier it takes, but you can't get the later ones if you don't get the early ones. And it's really nice. And these are the resources that you can grab. Here are 3 tracks. And this is why it was called Townsfolk Wanted, because they needed to hire people. I think that's why they changed it to Explorers. because you're exploring the land. And there are these 3 tracks, and you're going to like go from here, and you can explore like the swampy deserts, or the desert here. Now the desert is pretty short. It comes with a lot of flags. It doesn't have much treasure here, whereas the swamp has a lot of treasure if you get to the end, a lot of points at the end, and the mountains are kind of somewhere in between. And at the end of the round, your explorer that you push here is going to go back to 0, and you can build these little huts along the way, so that way when you reset, you go back to the hut, you don't go back to 0. And that's a nice little twist there. And you're exploring all 3 of these as much as you can, but you can't explore all of them, so you have to make a choice. Up here on the board is where you get all these different milestones. Like the first person to get like certain resources or certain things, certain cards can get a certain amount of points, and that's one way to score points in the game. Really, really nice. But what makes this game really sing is all the card art. Like it just helps everyone get into the game because the iconography is one very, very clear. When you first look at it, you may not understand, but once you give a quick teach, like it's very easy to remember. And like the artwork on these cards is just phenomenal stuff, really good, and it really gets you into the universe, like, and it really helps build it. And you can see the suits here, different kinds of suits, because you collect certain cards for a certain amount of points. Like this one just gives you 3 apples, right? Pretty simple. And I love how each suit has a different power, it kind of leans a certain different way. And yeah, just the artwork of this is really, really stellar. Like here's a plane. Like it's just so beautiful. This is a great game to get for a gateway game. It's not heavy. The biggest negative that I have is like these are all the cards in the game. So after you play this, like maybe like 3 or 4 times, you'll know all the cards in the game. You've seen all the cards in the game, and you'll see most of the cards in the game. You won't see all the cards, but you'll see most of them. So after you play it like 5 times, you kind of seen all the cards. You kind of know what to do. But like those cards will come out in a different order. But how the game plays is so smooth, and because of the track, you have like the sense of a race. That you have a race in the tundra. You have a race in the desert. You have a race in the swamp, and you're trying to expand and push as much as you can. And then you're constantly scoring points in this game. You're getting points all the time. So you're racing up this racetrack all the time, and it's pushing you to push yourself up the racetrack even more. This is a great like intro level game. This rulebook is in Chinese, but the English one is available on BGG. But even the rulebook is super bright and super colorful, filled with lots of examples here. I was really impressed by this. The gameplay wasn't as deep as I was expecting it to be. It was a lot lighter than I thought. But then I realized like that's great too. You need games that, and like the player tokens are colorblind friendly, right? The colorblind colors, right? Really, really nice. They didn't have to do this, but I'm so glad that they did. And I love the big chunky wooden pieces. The other resources are big and colorful. Like big and oddly shaped. Like, yeah, I'm just really, really impressed by this game. And this is one that I would strongly recommend you get. Like if I had to create a top 10 list of games from Asia, this one would probably be on that list. And this is if you are a cafe owner, if you own a cafe, this is one that I would recommend, because this is something that people will look at and get people excited about gaming. Because it'd be like, wow, games look like that. And you're like, yeah, they do. And you teach them the game, and it's really easy for them to follow along. And this is a real winner of a game. If you think good games don't come from Asia, you're bananas, man. Like there's so many good games coming out from Asia. And like this bag, right? They didn't have to have this bag, but they did. And these big circular components, they didn't have to have them, but they look so beautiful. And when you put this onto the board, it looks even better. Like I think if you really want to know more, you should check out the Asian from Down Under, Danny, who I forgot the name of his channel exactly. I think it's Board Game Sanctuary, right? Board Game Sanctuary. Yes, maybe. Let me. Yeah. great. He did a great review of this game and was pretty honest with it, the highs and lows of it. This is a great game, great find. If you can get it, definitely check it out. Again, this is Explorers of Novoria 3Q124. And I'll type that out here just so everyone can see it. Explore chat. I could chat, right? Explorers of Novoria 3Q104 or 124. Did I say 104? 124? 124. I apologize. Explorers of Novoria. Here we go in the chat. Let me fix this camera really quickly here. Man, I'm going to make this decision right now. Do I take out the insert or not? I kept the insert. I think it's because of the board. But you know what? Let's just do it. Is it glued in? Is it glued in? No, it's not. Let's just get rid of it. Gone. We take the map out here. Then we put in the player board. You put the rule book on the bottom. That's why. Yes, that's why I kept it. Because it's not tall enough. Oh, the pain. Smart J from the past. Okay, so it tapers. The box tapers tighter towards the bottom, which means that I do need this, which is the insert flipped upside down so I could fit the cards in there. And then I could squeeze everything in so the tokens fit in these little troughs here on the inside. And then I could put in the map and it's not stuck. Right? Yes. Then I put in the player boards. Now they're not stuck. Then I put it in the bag. And I put in the rule book. And then we can close the lid and hopefully, don't forget the sugar. Everything's good. All right. Explorers on Novoria. I put it down there and what room it's going to be. This is an amazing, amazing game from Shanghai, from a Shanghai publisher. I'll show you what the board looks like there. Yeah, that's how beautiful it looks. So if you wanted like a worker placement game that kind of looked like Roots and had that very bright and colorful look to it, like this is one that I think you totally get. And artwork's really important in games because it gets people to play the games. Next is another game that two games. This is from Ming Yi Design. Let's see, where are they located? They're also in Hall 4, 4F118. They do not have a pre-order up, so you will have to go there and get it, F4118. These are both designed by Julius. Julius is, I think I first met Julius because he's into war games. Like he's a big war gamer here. He's part of like the big war gamer group. Mike T is over there. Julius is a doctor, an ER doctor. So man, like he designs like war games, like heavy war games. He designs like fun family games like this. He designed both these games. He's designed an ER simulation cooperative game that's still in Chinese. He's in the process of translating it. Like, dude, he's a doctor in an ER and he designs games. Like, man, like this, and he's jacked. He's got some muscles, man. But he designed both of these games, and these are both really good games. I thought this was like a cute little card game at first. I was like, okay, I'll try it. Asia has tons of cute card games, but I was really impressed by this game. I think, and you're going to make me say it, Julius. This game is about cats, dogs, and rabbits, and it is called Politics, Candid Dogs, and Politicats. Julius. So here you go. Politics, Candid Dogs versus Politicats. And while you think that's a cute theme, man, oh man, I haven't played a game ever, from the West or from the East, or in the 30 years that I've been into gaming, I've never played a game that captured corruption and racism better than this game. This game really like suddenly shows the power of racism and corruption, political corruption, in a way that is just very shocking. You might make jokes when you play this game, but then you kind of pause. You're like, is that cool? I mean, they're all anthropomorphic dogs, cats, and rabbits, but like that's you really think about things and how it reflects like life. Like there's a rabbit reporter who says that there are too many rabbits in society. And wow, it's just nuts. It's just really, really nuts. Like this really showcases that. I definitely want to show it to you because it's amazing. This one is Boruka, which is this really great puzzle game. Like if you love like Tetris and polyominoes, this is an amazing game to get. I mean, granted, it does appropriate this weird indigenous tribe culture, and there's some problems with that. But like, if you could oversee that, like this game itself is really, really, really good. So where to begin? Okay, we'll start off with politics. Politics is a cute little card game, but the components to this game are extraordinary. Like, yeah, like you have satire in games. I love it. Like, look at this first player token. Like that's just hilarious to me. Like it's totally making fun of Uncle Sam. There it is. Do you want to see the money in this game? The money are cans of cat food. And wow, oh wow, look at those. These are actual little tin cans with labels on them. What? And look at the very top of them. You could see that there's a tab for you. Well, you can't really open it, but you could open it if you were so inclined. I mean, you can't really open it, but it's there. And it's that little extra inch, not the extra mile, but the extra inch that publishers do. And look, and you get a whole bag of these. Like, that's really cool. They didn't have to do that, but I'm glad they put that extra bling in it. Really great stuff. The weather vane tile is something that they didn't have to do, but look at that. Like, this is really great stuff here. This rooster, double-sided, printed onto it, and you can see the little texture there with the painting. Really great stuff here. That's a really great design. Here's the rule book. The negative that I have with the game is that there's only one negative I have, and that's the rule book is a little dense. I think I would have rewritten the rules to make it a little bit smoother. I don't know. I when I proofread rules, I'm pretty picky with it. The like when you bold word choices here, like this one, like you can see like they bolded words in rules. I think you can go overboard with that, and they kind of went overboard here. And sometimes when you bold things, I think they bolded the wrong things. Like there is something that you can may do this, and they didn't bold the may. They said do this, and I'm like, whoa! That may is really important. Don't knock that out. So, man, I've never taught this game, but I've played it, and it's really fun. In this game, there's an election, and there's two elections, just two elections, and that's it. And you take these things that happen, and things can get more corrupt. There could be corruption that's happening. And the more and more scandals that come out, if enough scandals happen, after 3 scandals, there's an election. It's time to change office, right? I wish they did that in the States. And there are 3 political parties. You have the rabbits, the dogs, and the cats. And the cats are hilarious. Like you have this gang leader cat art here. You have like an old celebrity, like the Ronald Reagan type of one. You have like that sassy feline commissioner. Like that's really cool. You have these rabbits, which are like just ordinary people, you know. Well, I mean, anthropomorphized people. You have like a doctor, cute bunnies, and the dogs are great too. Like you have the dog socialite. And then you have the sheriff here. You know what's really funny? I rewatched DuckTales recently, like the old school DuckTales, and DuckTales is kind of weird, man. Like all the ducks are at the top of the economic ladder, like they're the top bracket, and all the like blue collar jobs are all done by dogs. It's really weird. When I noticed that, and my friends noticed that, we're like, I feel very uncomfortable about this. Anyway, moving on. And these are the candidates that you hear, but you're not going to vote for them right away. You're going to be drawing cards in the game, and when you draw cards, you could draw cards from like the rabbits. You could draw the cards from the media, which, or you could draw cards from the cats or the dogs. So like here are the media cards here. And the media cards all have different effects here. The iconography is a little intense, but it's once you get past that, and it's pretty easy to get it past. It's pretty clear. And they even give out like these little player cards here to help you out. And you have like the cat cards, which are just hilarious. And then you have the dog cards here, right? But they both have the same back. So when you draw them into your hand, and including like the rabbit cards, right? When you draw these cards from the rabbit cards, like no one knows what you have. So you're gonna, and this takes place over several rounds. Let me do here. These are double-sided for language base. So this is Chinese, and this is English. So here, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to pull up your cards back to 4. So you have 4 cards. And when you draw cards, you can either draw from the dog deck, the cat deck, or the rabbit deck. So no one knows. And then you're going to play a card from your hand. And this will show your political allegiance or rafting, and who you're rallying for. And they have this little chart here. And you can see here's the weather vane. And the weather vane is, you're going to look at the difference. Okay, there are 3 cats and 2 dogs. So cats are ahead by 1. So you're going to move this in the direction of the cats by 1. And cats are fish, and dogs are bones, and rabbits are carrots. And you're going to slowly move it there. Now, if you rally too hard into cats, you're going to cause a corruption, like you cause a political fervor, something that's negative. Or if you go too far to dogs, there's a political corruption, it's a fervor, and it's a negative. There are things here like, and all these cards do certain things. So when you play a card, they're all going to do certain things. And sometimes you'll be putting like these cans. The game begins with 8 cans here, 8 cans on the board, because the warehouse, it's like that. I guess it's kind of like a communist society where they all have these cans here. Some of the cards are about like taking cans from there and giving them to other players. Like, oh, I'm a dog, you're a dog. We're going to share these cans together. Or I'm going to take cans from the opposing political party. Like and you're emptying out the coffers for the people, like complete corruption. And then when you empty it out, it causes a corruption event. And if you have 1, 2, 3, whether like it's you empty it out and it's full, or you fill it with surpluses, or you cause too much of political fervor, or if you draw through a deck of cards, it's all going to trigger this. So 1 major event, 2 major events, fine. 3 is going to cause an election. And when you get to election, you're going to vote for one of the candidates that I showed you. And then depending on the candidate you get, it's going to affect certain things. And it's going to heavily affect you. Affect the cat. The cat is going to hinder the dogs and help out the cats. You hire the dogs are going to help the dogs and then hinder the cats. And you could really feel like this punishment of like corruption of like, oh, my cronies helped me, so I'm going to help them. And, I'll forget you guys. And it's just really bizarre how the subtle mechanics of the game really flesh out that political system there. I was really, really impressed with this game about how tightly it fit. But like some cards give you points, and this is what this tracker is. It's just the points. And then after the 2 elections, whoever has the most points, you were the Koch brothers of Taiwan. You're of America. Like you influenced Cambridge Analytica. You influenced the elections the most, and therefore you win, which is just so dark when you think about it. But I don't think you should write this game off as like a simple card game, because it's really good and it's really worth playing and exploring, because the ideas behind it and how he implemented the ideas behind politics into this game are really, really interesting. And yeah, I think I was really, really impressed. And like Julius, if you're watching this, like good job, man. This is great. This won an award. There are lots of there's a really strong playtesting culture here. This won an award at one of these like card game events. Like everyone designs something and plays, and the people vote on this. This one, this one, and it got further developed, furthermore by various groups and playtesting groups, and now it's available to you at Essen. So not only is it like a good game, but it's like tried and true, tested and developed for like years. This is a really good game, very surprising. And you look at this cover and it's a little bit deceptive, but man, oh man, politics candid dogs versus politicats is surprisingly really good. I haven't played a game that captures corruption and racism so as well as this for as little card game as this is. Really, really impressed with this. But as impressed as I was with politics, Boruka is something that I think you definitely need to check out because wow, oh wow, is this game. This game is something, man. It's really, really good. The only problem I have with this game are the I think it has a few UI problems and just component problems. Here's number one: is that you get this really cool totem, right? Really, really cool, but it's very thin. That means it's easy to fall over. That's an easy fix, though. Like I have like clear bases, and I'm going to probably hot glue it to one so that way it's a little sturdier. But yeah, that's something that I was a little disappointed by. And then you have, as cool as this game is, like this game's really cool, but you also have unique player power. So there's a lot of replayability there, and you have like this, like when you look at this person, and I don't know should I be upset by this? I don't know. But you have this. What's her name? What do you think her name is? Don't know? Her name's Carol. Very bizarre, right? Frank. That's Frank. I mean, there's Fred. There's Ellie. That's bizarre, right? Like, I don't expect her name to be Ellie. There's Leon. My brother Leon. There's Gru. Right? Mirin and Nini, right? Like these are not names that match this theme, and that's just kind of I find that to be really, really bizarre. But ignoring that, this game is really, really neat. I like that each of these characters, if you look in the bottom, they each have a different unique player ability that's going to push your strategy in a different direction, and that makes playing the game multiple times fun because you could play it with each character trying to push in that direction and score more points that way. And like that makes the game really fun and worth playing. You have player shields, which I'm not a big fan of, but what you do on your turn. And let me get this here. Okay, here. What you're going to do on your turn is you have these tiles here, right? You're going to be drafting tiles, and you're going to be placed. You have your player shield here. You're going to have a player shield here, so no one's going to see what you do. And then you're going to place a certain tile. So you're going to 1, 2, 3, 4. This tile here means that you can grab this slightly bigger tile and upgrade your board. And that will allow you to place more tiles. So you can place like another red here, right? Like this has to be green, this has to be blue, this could be any color, and here you go. And then as you place them down on here, when it's your turn, you drop them onto the main board. Now, the main board consists of these random pieces here. You have all these big pieces, and you have some small pieces. And at the beginning of the game, you're going to arrange this together. So, and depending on the player count, you get a certain amount of pieces. So every time you play the game, the board is going to be shaped differently. And that's going to affect the gameplay. Now, I'm going to put this here. So you have some sort of reference here. So every time you play the game, this little board is going to be shaped differently. This is the scoreboard here. I'm not the biggest fan of this scoreboard, but it works and it's functional. This part here is where you put the totem pole. So you can see that it's just, you know. So typically we just kind of leave it here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let it slide up. Where am I? Where am I? I'm kind of lost here. And then as you get your tiles onto your player mat, then you're going to put them onto the board. And when you go put them onto the board, you have to put them in the order that you got it, and you got to do it from the outside in, meaning that you're always entering the temple like from the outside, going in, or connected from where you connected before. And so the board is going to look. Do they have pictures of it in the rulebook maybe? So the board is going to look kind of like this. You can see the back here. It's going to look kind of like that. And you're going to create these shapes in here. And the reason why you're going to create these shapes is, well, for a number of reasons. If you can create shapes like this, if you can see here in the center here, if you do reds in a straight line, you're going to score extra bonus victory points. If you do greens in a diagonal that's long enough, you'll score victory points. If you do blue and squares or rectangles and they're big enough, then you score victory points there. And that's just one of the ways you're going to do it. But you also have these character cards here. And on your turn, during one of the phases of the game, you'll be drafting these cards or buying these cards here. And these cards all do different things. Like some of them will help you, will just give you tiles. So that way you don't have to necessarily draft the tiles that you get. So you'll be laying down more and more tiles. So there's a lot more momentum in the game. But you'll also have these order cards. And these are tiered, like 1, 2, and 3, or 3, 2, 1. And then at any time during your turn, if you're able to create this pattern here, then you immediately get this benefit. You immediately get 4 points and then one of these. And you immediately get like 4 points and one of these. Like you immediately get like 5 points and anything of your choice. And what happens with this game is that as you build up the board, you're using your pieces and your opponent's pieces, and you're just scoring things left and right. So I score this, I score this, or this. It's very common in this game to score like 3 or 4 contracts in one turn. Just boom, 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 and then boom, you skyrocket on there. And it's a lot of fun. And when you do that, you could the totems have this nice interesting mechanic too of where their eyes are open or their eyes are closed. And it creates these extra layers to the game. So you can there's some things where you could build rooms like off to the side to make it just a little bit longer for you to score. Really great, interesting stuff here. And like the character cards that you have can give you points at the end of the game. And they all do different things. Like they give you more things. They can give you convert more powers. And they all have different names. And so it's really, really interesting. I really, really, really like this game. If you like Tetrayaminos and if you like pieces or like Tetris and you like that kind of puzzly games, then Boruka is something I definitely recommend you try playing, because I think once you play it, you're going to leave with it because it's really good. The problems that I have are just, production and like the weird names like Frank, Nini, Ned, Nina, like that's just weird. Like the people and the cards have names that sound like they belong to this culture. It's just kind of weird. Like, I don't know. Like, so I kind of wish they did a little bit more research into that. But if you can see past that, I think you'll find that there's actually a really, really good game here that's worth exploring. And yeah, and there's my promo card here. And this game, I got to tell you, this is a really good game. This is in my short list of top 10. Like if I had to pick the top 10 games that are going to Essen this year, this is on that list because I was just really, really impressed by this design. Really good. So this video, we had a lot of good games that came out, a lot of good bangers. Does anyone have any questions? Please feel free to type them down here below and I'll answer them as I put this game away because man, oh man. Yeah, I was really impressed by this game. Nothing yet. Putting these away. Kind of, I think, maybe. Ah, there we go. I will also say this, that this is a game that's coming with me to the States. That's how much I can recommend it. All right, gang. We talked about a lot of games today, and we went over. So the first two videos in this series, parts 1 and 2, went under. This one went over, and I think we did a great job. I'm really proud of ourselves. We went through a lot of games here. I hope that answers some of your questions. If you see something, you have another question that you can think of, or if you're not watching this live, comment down below, and I always answer to all the comments. And if you have any questions, please hit me up on social media and ask me there. I'm pretty much everywhere at Cardboard East. Once again, my name is Jay. I play board games from Asia and share what I find with all of you. I'm going to put these games back up here. Whiskey. Once again, my name is Jay. I play board games from Asia and share what I find with all of you. I'll see you in the next video, same time tomorrow. Peace. Do, 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 do.